Print on demand is a business model that's so simple, yet it can unlock incredible opportunities with nothing more than a laptop and an internet connection. And I'm going to start this video off with a pretty big statement and say what I'm about to show you in this video could very well make a lot of millionaires. I'm going to show you everything you need to know step by step to make a professional e-commerce website that sells print on demand products in the easiest, the most profitable, and the most effective way possible. We've seen people use this method and earn thousands of dollars per month, all the way up to over $80,000 per month in profit, not revenue, profit, with the tools I'm about to show you. So this is something that a lot of people gatekeep behind a paid course and charge hundreds or even thousands of dollars for, but this video is completely free, obviously on YouTube. Like, if you don't believe me, check the description and see for yourself. I promise I have nothing to sell you. Nothing is withheld from this video, and as long as you follow along step by step, by the end of this video, you will have a fully functional print-on-demand store, functioning ads, and some powerful automations that can save you time as you grow your business. And there's literally never been a better time to start print on demand, because even if you have absolutely no experience in design or website building, that doesn't matter. In this video, I'm going to show you it's easier than ever now to make great designs that look incredible and iterate very, very quickly on these, like this design or this design, and also to make a beautiful and professional website with very little effort at all, using some pre-made templates and adjusting everything with a very simple and intuitive editor. But make no mistake, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. If you want that, go buy a lottery ticket or some meme coins. This is a long-term play. But if you dedicate yourself to this, you can make a successful business. Now, some people may be skeptical. They may have heard about print on demand and wonder if it's too late to actually get started. But check out this market research here. Print on demand is actually a rapidly growing market. The global market was $10.21 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach over $87 billion by 2033. And USA is the largest market, accounting for, I believe, about 40% of the total market share. And the reason for this growth is because so many people are willing to wait a little bit longer because they really want customized products. They want something that is more unique, something that expresses their own ideas, their own opinions, or something that just they can't find at Walmart or Target. People won't want the generic stuff anymore. So print on demand is the perfect solution to that. And as you can see here, it kind of makes sense like what I was just saying. Apparel is currently the largest part of print on demand at about 35%, but there are so many other products you can sell on print on demand, like home decor is the fastest growing. Of course, there's like mugs and drinkware and different things that I'll be talking about throughout this video. But print on demand is not only growing fast, it's also very popular for a couple key reasons. But let's start off with kind of rewinding a little bit and going over the basics of what even is print on demand. In essence, you design and you market, they print and they ship. So there are a lot of benefits to this. You just come up with one or many designs, whatever designs you want, and you come up with ways to market that, whether that is running ads, doing organic marketing, making a website, everything I'll be talking about how to do in this video. And then when you actually make the sale, you don't do any printing, you don't do any packing, you don't do any shipping, no logistics on that end. That is all taken care of by your supplier. They have the printing machines, they print it after the order is made, and they ship it out to the customer, directly to the customer, without you ever laying hands on the product that is actually going to the customer. So there are a lot of benefits from that. One, of course, you don't have any inventory, which means you don't have to spend a lot of money to buy a lot of product and then later find out if it works or not. So iteration is going to be much, much easier and much, much faster. You don't need to have a warehouse or any kind of space. Like I said, just a laptop and an internet connection is all you need. And because you don't have any overhead cost, it costs next to nothing to start. So there's very, very low risk in getting started with this business. Additionally, you have a ton of flexibility, so you can work from anywhere in the world. You can make a new design every day of the week if you wanted to. It would cost you nothing extra to do that. And that allows you to test a lot of different things, find out what works well, and then iterate on that a lot and make an even better design, an even better ad, an even better product, making it an incredibly scalable business. It's also easy to scale beyond this business as well. So if you find something that's just a home run product is doing so well, and eventually you grow to an enormous business and it's not worth it to even do print on demand anymore, it's very easy to then start getting inventory or bring things in-house because you already have a product that's selling very well. And the product really is the design. It's not so much the actual fabric, the material, it's going to be the design that you're making. So that's print on demand, why it's valuable. In this video, I'll be talking about how to create a hub, how to find the hands-off supplier that I mentioned earlier, finding a product, creating your design, making mock-ups that can go on your website, Then of course, designing your website. That's a very important part of this entire process. Then we'll talk about some back-end settings, setting up your payment processing and things like that. And then ultimately the marketing aspect of this. So before you actually get started, I recommend this. Write down your commitment and hang it up somewhere. Are you committing to 4 hours per week for 1 year? Are you going to do 20 hours a week? Are you looking for like 10 to 20 minutes a day for 1 year? Write down what your goal is for how committed you are to this and hang that up somewhere so that in a couple weeks, when you start to maybe get distracted or a little tired from this, you look at that and you're like, yeah, this is a year-long thing. I'm committing to 20 minutes a day to actually make this happen. Imagine where you're going to be in a year if you commit to even, like I said, just 20 minutes or an hour a day. You can really make a lot of progress in 1 year just from doing that. So that brings us to step 1 in your print-on-demand journey. And I recommend you follow along click by click. The first step is to be starting off with your central hub where everything is going to be connected. Your supplier, your marketing, everything comes to one central hub. And we recommend using Shopify. So you can get started with Shopify by either clicking the link in the top of the description, typing out santrelmedia.com/Shopify, or copying and pasting the link from the description to a new tab. And this is an affiliate link. It helps to support the channel at absolutely no extra cost to you. So if you're going to make a Shopify store anyway, we would really appreciate it if you go through this link. And like I said, this helps to keep content like this completely free. So we don't ever charge people for courses or anything like that. So I'm going to click on this link, and in a new tab, actually by going through this link, you should be getting a $1 per month for a kind of promo for the intro of Shopify. Right now it's lasting for 3 months. Sometimes it's a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, but I'm going to enter my email address now. We can say start free trial. And I believe you get about 3 days of a free trial, and then you get $1 per month for 3 months. So you get a pretty long time before you ever have to pay for Shopify for any more than $1 a month. And so that gives us a nice runway to really get started with this business. Like I said, we can start to expect some sales within the first couple months, but within about 6 months, that's when you really start to see things pick up a lot more. So this runway really helps us out in getting to that level. And of course, it's really important to never give up on this business. Now, I'm going to just click on next through all of this. We don't really need to tailor any of this. So we could just say, I don't want help setting up. We're going to do all of that later on. And then they're going to ask us which plan we actually want. If you don't already have a design, you don't already have like any sales, if you're not like migrating from WooCommerce, for example, the basic plan is going to be the best for pretty much everybody out there. As you scale, I'll have links in the description. Link number, I think I'm going to call it link number 3, is going to be a comparison tool that you can use to decide which plan is actually right for you, really in terms of the credit card rate. So once you reach a certain sales volume, 2.9 versus 2.7%, that little 0.2% is going to be a larger difference than $39 versus $105 per month. So that tool down in the description can help you figure that out whenever you scale to that point. But we're going to start off with the basic plan. I'm going to say try basic. We can enter our credit card information. Again, just $1 per month for the first 3 months. And if you don't like it, you can cancel. Otherwise, it's going to renew at $39 per month. So starting off with my credit card information. Now we can enter our address, which if you don't have a physical business address, I would assume most people here don't. Just use your home address. That should work just fine. Click Save Business Address. And now that brings us into Shopify. So from here, we can add everything. We'll talk about how to really connect everything to this in a second, but it's important to set this step up first. So now the next step is to start kind of thinking about what kind of niche we want to be in, and then to find a supplier and then choose our design. So kind of a little exercise right here is to think about what niche you want to get involved in. I like to start off with, like, if you use ChatGPT a lot, it probably knows a lot about you, a lot of the requests you've made. So you can actually just ask it. You could say, please come up with 15 print-on-demand niche ideas based on what you know about me and my interests. And if you've been using it a lot, maybe you ask a lot of questions about like, mountain biking or maybe playing pickleball or whatever. It can say like, hey, you're interested in these things. And that's kind of just a good way to start thinking about what kind of niches you might want to be involved in. You also want to really factor in what kind of niches have the right criteria to be a good one. So a high level of interest is really, really important. A group that really feels like that's part of their identity. They really care a lot about it. And of course, they need to be very committed to that enough to actually want to express it on like a mug or on a t-shirt or on some wall art or something like that. I recommend looking to make sure that there's like a Reddit group or an X like account or anything that really focuses on that, because that's kind of a good validator to say that yes, there is a community that's very interested in this. So if you're interested in like little micro pigs, like maybe there's a Reddit group about that. And if you find it, you say, like, okay, there's a big enough audience that people actually would be interested in buying something related to this. We also want to make sure they have disposable income. So some niche examples would be like golf is a really good one. It's very expensive to play golf, in my opinion, like $70 a week to go play. Like that's people that are doing that have disposable income. And so they're also very, very interested in that. There's huge YouTube channels, huge groups on Reddit that just like people spend so much time thinking about golf. That's a great example there. Astrology, people literally wear necklaces with their signs on them. So that's a big part of identity. Any kind of hobby, like I said, mountain biking, it could be like a lot of other things I'll talk about throughout this video. But it doesn't have to be like a long-term thing somebody identifies with. You could also do print on demand for pop culture type things. It could be the latest meme on the internet. It could be any kind of like current events that are going on. Those are great opportunities for an arbitrage to make a product, and like maybe no one else is really selling that yet, which gives you a really nice competition advantage. Also, baby humor is another good example. Like it doesn't have to be for the actual buyer. It could be like a lot of people buy like bibs or onesies for their baby, and they put whatever they want in there. It could be funny, it could be whatever. That's also a great opportunity there. Seasonal products is another idea. So kind of similar to like the memes and current events. St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and a lot of people are going to a St. Patrick's Day party, and they're probably going to want to wear something that might be like a funny shirt or something related to St. Patrick's Day. Maybe white elephant gifts around Christmas would be another example. There's a lot of opportunities based on the season that you could change and kind of, again, get that arbitrage, because larger companies might not be looking for seasonal sales like that. Travel and tourism is another great idea, although somewhat more of a limited market. That's really probably better to sell in person, but something you could still consider if it's a new and up and coming destination. A lot of people may be traveling to some town in Tennessee that you know about, and that could be a good opportunity to advertise locally there and really start to get those sales up. Political, of course, is a huge one. I'm not going to talk much about that in this video, not trying to get anyone angry there, but just know that, every 4 years in the US, there's a new presidential cycle going on. And so plenty of opportunity to, like, a lot of people get very, very invested in this. And you could even play both sides, make some apparel on either side for what's really interesting, what's going on. And a lot of people would probably be buying that. That's something that you really see as a trend. And I'll show you that in some examples in a minute. And of course, just general humor always seems to do quite well. Now, one last thing before we start doing research on the actual design, because right now you're probably like, all right, let's go. Like, I'm ready to make this design. One more thing to think about is these little questions right here, right? What is going to make your product unique? Will you have sales international or just domestic? Because our supplier that we'll talk about does actually sell in 32 different countries, so you could do international if you really wanted to. Is your product going to be shareable? You want to keep that in mind, something that's interesting that somebody like sends to a friend, or maybe they gift it to a friend, something like that. And really a big one, the reason I have this book over here is maybe you want to consider, are you doing this for a purpose? Is this going to be for every one wall art print that gets purchased, you donate like a pair of socks or shoes to another country? Maybe $1 gets donated to some tree foundation or something like that. Things that maybe could make the end user or the end customer feel a little bit better about buying your product and kind of be proud to be an owner of that. All right, now that brings us to step 2, which is the supplier. Now, in order to choose a product, it's of course important to know what products are available by the supplier. Like if you want to print on like a glass water bottle, not every supplier is going to be able to do that. So of course, t-shirts and mugs and a lot of the common stuff, that's going to be very easy. Like everybody does that, but we want to know what's actually available. So there's really 3 big suppliers. I've tested all of them. And in fact, I actually made an in-depth comparison between Printful, Printify, and Gelato. It's like a 35-minute video. I ordered products from all of them. I tested them. I showed you like the embroidery, the printing, and all the quality for different products that they make, and ultimately came up with conclusions. So in this video, I'm actually going to be going with Gelato. So I really like Gelato for a couple reasons. They have very competitive prices, a very intuitive user interface, and they offer some really cool features like Personalization Studio, which allows end users to customize their order. So maybe they're adding like their anniversary date or their last name or something like that. I'll show you how to use that later on in the video. But this is actually another affiliate link. I don't really think we get like any commission from this. It's very, very small, but you actually get an advantage if you go through it. So again, that's link number 2 in the description down below. And so you could type in santrelmedia.com/gelato or click on the link. And if you look right here, the fine print, you actually get 50% off your first purchase. So I'm going to talk about ordering samples. I think that's really, really important. And you're getting, 50% off that order by going through that link. It's also, you get to try it for free. So another advantage of going through that link. So I'm going to say get offer. And again, we have to create an account with Gelato. We don't have a lot of accounts we'll be making in this video, but this is one of the other ones. You can sign up with Google, with Facebook, with Apple, or what I'm going to do is just continue with my email. So down here, I'm going to enter my name, my email address, and a password. Now, this is a good opportunity to go over to your email, and you're going to have a Shopify email verification and a Gelato one. Just click on both those buttons, say confirm email, and it'll bring you, like the Shopify one, let me just paste that right here. It'll bring you to a page that looks like this. You just click on your store. It'll bring you back to the dashboard. And like I said, we'll talk about Shopify later in the video. Let's click on the Gelato one then. All right, so for Gelato, you'll see an email that looks something like this right here. We're going to click on verify email. I'm actually just going to copy and paste it on the screen here. I'm actually just going to copy and paste it right here. So it'll show you, it'll bring to the Gelato dashboard, or rather kind of walk you through some more things, just like we did on Shopify. We can skip all of this if you want to. I'm just going to say we're going to launch an online business. We can, it doesn't really matter what you select here. This is all going to be, we can change everything later, but this is just going to essentially set up your dashboard. So we'll click through all of these. You heard about it through, I guess, social media. I don't know. What do I count? Influencer? Am I an influencer? I don't know. Whatever. I'll just say Santrel. Doesn't matter if you say this or not, but we can select or deselect this. Keep in mind, this is going to be, again, an email that you'll receive. So I usually deselect these things, but I'm going to say finish. And that will bring us to our Gelato dashboard. Now, the Gelato dashboard. Now, we have two dashboards, Shopify and Gelato. And what we want to do, again, is to figure out what we want to sell, what kind of products are available. So before we connect the store or do anything like that, let's look at the product catalog. Down here, you'll see product catalog. And as I mentioned, there are a lot of products that are just basic ones. Like you'll find like the Gildan 5000 under t-shirts. If I go to t-shirts, probably the first one here, which is probably the most common t-shirt. Yeah, Gildan 5000, the one that pretty much everybody is selling. Very reliable quality, very common, very affordable. But they also have some brands that people know about. So you might want to find something from Under Armour, for example. If I go to premium down here, this is what you'll see. We've got like all these different brands that people know of. They could be like eco-conscious. We've got Just Hoods there. We've got Under Armour down there, Champion, a lot of brands that are a little bit more premium that if you're looking to sell that, you definitely could do that. And we're going to order samples later so you can see what the quality is for whatever you end up ordering anyway. We also have, besides just clothing, of course, we've got tote bags down here. We also have wall art, which is a pretty big category. So you have the finer art, we've got posters, we've got wooden frames, we've got hangers for kind of a different style right there. And when you hover over each of these, obviously they show some pretty good examples. An aluminum print, that's actually pretty sick. You could do an aluminum print here. Acrylic, you've got foam prints, wood prints here. That's also really cool to print on wood like that. So different ideas of how you can set these up. Below that, of course, tons of different things you can see right there. We've got calendars, we've got cards, photo books, hats, phone cases, mugs and bottles, stationery and business. I think this is like business cards. Yeah, so business cards, flyers, brochures, stuff like that. And of course, you can see if you just want to shop by brand, these are some of the brands that are available rather than going to that premium section and then finding it that way. If you're just like, hey, I definitely want comfort colors, you can get comfort colors. And it's actually kind of cool that they have comfort colors on here. I might be ordering some comfort colors in this video. So that is kind of the product catalog. Now, we can choose what we want to sell first. Maybe I'm going to be designing a t-shirt. Let's start off with the basic one of a t-shirt, and then I'll go through some products that we could sell and list on our store that are in the other categories, wall art, maybe a mug. I'll do all of that in this video, and it doesn't really change a whole lot in your design process, but what we want to do for the design process, again, going back to this little presentation, there is a way to do this. Some people can just come up with an idea on the top of their head and sell it, and it works. And if that's you, good for you. That's absolutely incredible. But most of us out there are not going to be able to just off the top of the head with no inspiration, make a product and have it sell right away. Instead, there are better ways to do this. Researching is going to help you a lot. And there's two key things you want to think about in business. And this applies to really any business out there. One is what's called the blue ocean strategy. You want to be able to make a product in a space that has so little competition, but so much demand that you could make a low quality product and it'll still sell well. You don't want to make a low quality product, but that reduces the barrier. So you're allowed, it gives you more wiggle room for making mistakes mistakes and learning when you first get started. And then because there's no competition and a lot of demand, you can find early success and then reinvest that to build up your moat around you, to build up your brand identity so that as other people enter the space, you already are a higher quality, you're more recognized. Overall, you're going to be a lot better off that way. So that's the blue ocean strategy. And we'll talk about how that applies here in a second. The second strategy for many businesses out there is don't reinvent the wheel. Don't invent something new necessarily, but rather iterate on what already exists. You want to look at what's working and how you can make that work for your business. So on the right side here, I have 3 tools we're going to go through over the next maybe 10 to 15 minutes and research some other product ideas, kind of get some inspiration, figure out, what's working, what's not working. And what I like to do is create, I believe they call this a mood board in marketing. And this is like, I just make a PowerPoint or a Google slideshow, and I'll just take screenshots and put them all on one thing to see what kind of designs do I like? What kind of designs do I want to take that kind of, like I said, you're looking at what's working and also that blue ocean strategy. So you have your niches that you like, and you want to find, here's a great example just to kind of show what I'm talking about. This product right here, I'll show you how I found this in a second, but this is a product that seems to be selling very well. We'll see this style a lot in our research, as you'll see in a minute, but maybe this style, you are interested in like dendrology or trees or just like Pennsylvania, for example. Maybe you could take this and make it like the leaves or like the hardwoods of Pennsylvania or something related to like a totally different category, but use this style. So you're looking at a category that has no competition, but you're not reinventing the design. You're looking at a design that clearly works in another niche. And that's going to be a very, very, very powerful strategy to look at what's working in one niche, move it to another niche, and attract a totally new audience there. So let's talk about how we can do that research. The first thing I recommend doing is going to Etsy. That's a great way to look up for like clothing or a lot of things. People are doing a lot of print on demand and selling on Etsy, which we totally can do with our Shopify store. We can link it to Etsy and sell everything like that. That's why it is our central hub. But again, great space to do some initial research. We'll do some research on Amazon as well as on Facebook and TikTok ads as well. But starting off right here, what I like to do is go to Etsy, go to clothing, go to men's clothing, go to shirts and tees. You could look at women's clothing too. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is to go to shirts and tees in one way or another. So scrolling down through here, you're going to see a ton of graphic t-shirts that are almost all entirely print on demand. The prices are really all over the place, and we'll talk about pricing and how to decide the right price for you. Also, one of the reasons I like to have a Shopify store rather than on Etsy is because you can make your price and not be, right next to an $11 t-shirt. You can kind of have a little more control over your pricing. But scrolling through here, you can see some things are a little bit older. Like this was really popular a couple years ago. So we'll still see some of those lingering around. But there are some newer designs. Like I said, I wasn't going to talk about political ones much, but this style right here is definitely going to be a political one. I think a lot of people, it's kind of like a hot topic right now. You could very easily make some Gulf of Mexico t-shirts and Gulf of America t-shirts and sell them to 2 different crowds. And a lot of people would be very interested in that. And I think I found one a couple minutes ago. I was browsing around this already before filming. So like right here, there we go. This design right here, very easy to make this design, very cool, like casual design. Some people might not even think anything of it, but it's also like people who are very passionate about that are going to really like this shirt. It's going to be a style that they could wear in public, and they're probably going to have people looking at it and say like, oh, that's kind of funny. It's now it's a relevant topic that nobody really talked about in the past. Scrolling through here, you can see there are other ones, some kind of abstract art like this, or even like this one right here. This one's focused more on like people who become a new parent or a new grandmother. Of course, like any kind of rights or any kind of movements, that's obviously going to have a really strong, very motivated base you could sell to. But going through these, let's kind of find some designs that we like. So kind of this vintage style, this kind of keeps coming up where you have the lines down there. You can see, again, with that Gulf of Mexico shirt, like the different colors down there. That seems to be a trend. People kind of like adding that in there. A little bit more of a retro look on the shirt. I kind of like that. So I might take a screenshot of this, put it on that mood board. Again, I still like this one here, even though it's a little more outdated. I think it just kind of looks cool. It would be good, maybe not so much on a shirt, but we could move this to maybe some wall art, for example, or just, like I said, move it to a mug, some different niches, because clearly this is popular. It's doing well here, but we want to find other use cases for a style or design that's doing well in one niche, in one type of product. And after browsing for a while, let's take a look at some other platforms as well. Amazon, if you just look up graphic t-shirt, for example, you could do the same for mug maybe, or wall art or something. You'll find a lot of similar stuff. So there's that kind of sea life one, again, also doing well on Amazon. This one, you can see over 1,000 bought this in the last month, 187 reviews. So a lot of people are buying like this style. That's a little more abstract, but it doesn't matter if it's a difficult design to make. We can actually make something like this using ChatGPT or DALL-E very, very easily. So a lot of the designs of this style, don't worry, we can make designs without being a graphic designer. I kind of like this skeleton right here. We might use a skeleton a little bit later in this video for some other designs, maybe some humor around it. Maybe we could apply that to like an exercise, kind of almost a little bit ironic to add it to like a fitness or an exercise niche. And actually, I like this one a lot too. This is more of a basic, just kind of funky little style here. 6,000 ratings. They obviously have a lot of different designs they're selling, but you can also do the same. You can make a lot of these if you have the right prompt. Again, using DALL-E or ChatGPT, you don't really need to be a graphic designer to make some of these designs. So we'll be showing you, like, we'll be doing that throughout this video, but I also, like, let's just add this one to the mood board. I like how this one looks a lot. Resource number 3 is going to be TikTok's Creative Center. So I'll make this one link number 4 down below. This is going to be, it's kind of hard to get to this, but it looks like this right here. The TikTok Creative Center has kind of several different things you can go to. So you can go to looking at what's hot on TikTok ads or what's hot actually on TikTok. So kind of a good way to identify some new up and coming trends in case you either don't use TikTok a lot, or maybe your TikTok is just so narrowed in on one thing that you're going to miss out on some of the other larger trends. You can click on get started on either one of these. Like I said, either the topics that are on the rise or the ads that are doing well. And within each of them, you can look at the industry. So you could say, hey, maybe we're looking at apparel and we're looking at the last 7 days. Maybe some of these trends like fit check, you can check out that hashtag and see what people are really talking about there. Look at, what kind of things are doing well. And also, this is going to be beneficial later when we're making our ads, where we can make our ads in the format of what's trending right now. Maybe there's a certain song or a certain like just style people are really making these videos, and it's like blowing up and trending in one way or another, and we can use that with our own products to kind of slip right into that viral trend and get a lot more exposure to our brand there. So you can kind of browse through this, view more down there. But another tool, like I said, is the ads. I want to dig into the ads a little bit more, because this is where we can see, like, if people are making ads on TikTok for print on demand products, we can see what's actually working, what they're really putting their money behind on ads. Because if an ad is really getting a lot of spend, odds are they're not just wasting that money. Most people want to see some return, which means people are probably clicking on the ad and probably ultimately ordering. So you typically have to sign in to get some more advanced things. So we could log in or sign up. If you have a TikTok account, you could do that now. Otherwise, you could just look at 4 different things here, and we can make an account later when we're actually setting up our ads. But maybe you want to look at the industry here. We could say apparel and accessories. We can look at men's clothing, and we could ignore and objective could be conversions. The ad language will say English, and we want non-Spark ads. And so this one looks like it's a little bit of a dead end today. You're getting some hoodies that have like floral designs, nothing I'm super interested in. We can browse through a lot more, like I said, if you log in. And then the final research tool that I recommend using is Facebook. You can go on Facebook and find a lot of print on demand products that are being sold. So this one right here, so this is Hockey Lovers, sportsmand.com. I'm not sure that domain, but 1,600 likes, 1,600 followers. Clearly a lot of people are interested in this. And as we scroll down, you can see they have a lot of different, like, let's just go to the photos. You'll see they have a lot of different products that maybe you want to be inspired by. So maybe like the American flags with the American flag with hockey sticks, kind of cool. But maybe you can make that with like baseball bats or fishing rods or something else in some other niche that you might want to get into that maybe you'd be interested in, their country flag, if not the U.S. flag. This one's kind of funny. So Sasquatch, but slap squatch. So maybe Sasquatch stuff does well. This is kind of ugly sweater format. Again, with that seasonal thing, that's another great idea around Christmas to make the ugly sweater style, because people buy new ugly sweaters like every couple of years. They only wear it a couple times a year, but they're willing to buy one because, hey, they got invited to an ugly sweater party and they don't have an ugly sweater to wear. Again, whenever you find pages like this, it's just great to kind of browse through the different designs. You don't want to copy designs, obviously, but take inspiration, find out what's working, and then apply it to another niche, like I mentioned throughout this video. So this one's pretty funny, actually. I like that one a lot. That's hilarious. And so now there are two tools that I like to use to really design the shirts or the products that we're actually using. And you can make a t-shirt design and then put that on a mug or on wall art. Typically, it's a very similar aspect ratio. Mugs are a little wider, but the wall art is typically a very similar aspect ratio. So tool number one is actually going to be Canva. So if I go to canva.com, maybe I'll put that link down, like link number 5 down below, just canva.com. That will bring you to this. And we can look up t-shirt on the top. We could say search for t-shirt. And a lot of times they have designs that are here and available. So if you find one that you really like and you want to modify it somehow for yourself, you can do that. So you can go and say, hey, maybe I really like this text right here, but instead of saying savage, you want to say something else. And so like this stay strong one, this is really cool, but maybe you're trying to make this for like a fundraiser. Maybe there's a natural disaster in your area or some other area. You want to, donate funds to them and you want to support them. Then maybe you want to have like something strong. Maybe it could be like LA Strong, for example, to support the wildfires or people who were affected by the wildfires in that region. Different ideas like that. So you can kind of work off of these designs right here. Or what I'm going to do, and there's that retro style there with the different colors. I kind of like that. You can always use that format and just change the text and change the background image. That's actually pretty sick. I like that idea a lot. So let's just say we're going to go with this one for example. Canva is really easy to work with. You can look at what's the t-shirt dimension approximately. You don't really have to worry about that too much. Let's just say we're going to customize this template. It'll give us a little box that it's working in, and you can just double click on any one of the elements. It's very intuitive. Like click, you can drag it around. You can double click on it and change what it says. So maybe this is going to, like I said, maybe it's going to be LA Strong, and maybe you want that in all of them. So you can easily just kind of change all the text right here, change it to whatever you want. And then on the left side, we have the design tool. So any other designs you might want to try if you wanted to add a page down here and just try a different design. So maybe like this one, kind of similar to what I said before, where we had like the different animals. Maybe butterflies would be a good one. I think moths, different things like that. Below that, we have elements. So you can search for a ton of different elements. Maybe if I want to do some different trees, I could just go and say, let's just search for tree, find some tree silhouettes. I know I saw one. Let's say tree silhouettes. We could just click and drag these over, maybe like a bunch of different tree styles. I don't know, whatever. You can make designs, but you just click and drag things around. And by the way, Canva is free to use, as I mentioned, or maybe mentioned earlier, but there is a pro version as well. I upgraded to it because I use it a lot. You don't have to, but see all these little crowns right here? You need the pro version to get that. And you also need the pro version to export with a transparent background. If you didn't want to export with or if you wanted to not pay, there are tools that remove the background for free. Like if you just go on Google and look up free background remover, you'll see there's typically like remove.bg, free background remover, and you could just download this design and then put it up there. It'll remove the background for you for free. But if you have a couple extra dollars, it is, I would say, worth it to get the Canva Pro option, just so you can, do it natively right here. It's going to do a better job on Canva than it would removing the background after it already adds the background. So that's kind of how you'd use Canva. We're going to come back to Canva in a minute, but let's talk about the other design tool in case you didn't want to just use the elements on the left side and in the text and stuff like that. Maybe you want to make like a totally new design like I showed you earlier in this video. And the second tool that I like to use for that, as I kind of already mentioned, is actually ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, you are able to just ask it to make a design for you, and it does a surprisingly good job. You want to make sure you're using ChatGPT 4.0. Don't use 0.1 because I don't think that can actually generate images. This is using DALL-E, so that's going to be how it makes the images. So I actually made a couple. I'll show you the examples in a second, but let's just say let's just say create an image of a retro truck in the desert. And I usually like to add kind of a little extra clause on the end. So you really want to play with your prompts to make it look in the right style. So I like to say make it simple, make it monochromatic. You could also make it multiple colors if you want. And you want it to be an image that's easily printed on a t-shirt or a stamp. I always add the or a stamp thing because for some reason that helps it to make it like a simple image that is very, very printable. You don't want a ton of detail because then print quality, like it's already good print quality, but if it's too detailed on a screen, there's more risk for the print quality variable that when somebody gets it, maybe some of the really thin lines might not be absolutely perfect. So we want to make this, we want to give ourselves the best chance possible for consistency over the long term and make it as easy to print as possible. So we can always, use this on many different products and it should always look good. So let's see what it comes up with here. And sometimes it's not good the first time. Sometimes it is good the first time, but let's see what this comes up with. We can always click regenerate on the bottom. All right, so this truck is a little bit too retro. Otherwise, I kind of do like the style here. We can click on this right here and just say try again. Let's see if it comes up with a better one the second time. If not, I may tweak that and say maybe like a 1980s truck or 1990s truck, something in like a more specific era. I'm not looking for like a 50s style truck. This one looks pretty cool here, but let's say a 1980s or 1990s truck. And another thing to keep in mind is there is sort of a limit on how many you can make. I think you can make like 20 images within 30 minutes or an hour. So you don't want to go too fast, but it's good to kind of iterate and see what ChatGPT is actually able to come up with. And then after, it says like wait 5 or 6 minutes and then you're able to make a bunch more as well. All right, so this actually looks pretty good. I like that a lot. And when we have one that, I don't know why they put a flag on the back. Let's do one more time. But when we have one we like, we can click the little download button and we can save it. It's going to save it as like a web file, but we can also, I'll show you something else you could do in a second. So let's try one more time on this generated image. And while that's generating, let me show you some of the other ones I came up with. So I thought of, in the golf niche, maybe you are making a joke about how, like there's a common meme that's like, if you're looking for water in space, like just play golf, because some people are apparently like they, always hit the ball into ponds and stuff. So it's kind of like a common meme in the golf community. So you could say, make an astronaut looking for a golf ball with a golf bag in the background in space. This right here, we can add some text and just say like looking for water or something like that. So I thought this one turned out really good. I think that would be very, very printable on a shirt, one color, super easy. You could even like maybe embroider that as well. But really that's a printer. Like I think that's a good one right there. We can also, I was trying out the leaf one earlier. So I could say like make a collage of North American leaves. We've got some oak leaves in there. We've got some nuts in there. We have, just a lot of variety here, some beech leaves, some walnut leaves. So that's kind of cool. And we didn't really have to do much with this design. Although it is a square design, we kind of have to play around with that a little bit over in Canva. But scrolling down another one, I thought like, hey, pickleball is kind of funny that it's called pickleball. Maybe there's a way you could have a pickle playing pickleball, and that would be like a funny thing to have maybe on a mug, for example. By the way, I think this one right here might look better on wall art, especially if we colorize it. We can even have this in color. That would look good. But let's go down. The other one I had, and this is the one I think I'm probably going to go with in this video, was making a graphic of a skeleton. Remember I said before, I thought it was funny that if we had like a skeleton, seems to be a common trend. Like a lot of stuff uses that, but kind of ironically in the fitness space, and it's also called deadlifting. So it's like a dead guy lifting. Like, I don't know. I just thought that seems like that would be something worth trying. So I like this one right here. We can download this one, clicking the download button there. I can save it to this folder. And like I said, it saves it as a web file, so WEBP. If we don't want that, you can also just click on it. It gets a lot larger here. And then on Mac, you can say Command-Shift-4. On Windows, you just open the snipping tool, and you can highlight this entire thing right here. So we can highlight that, and then I can go and save that to my folder. And that's going to be just, exactly this size right here. Now, when you make things with ChatGPT, it does not get rid of the background. By the way, let's go check that truck. Oh, that looks really good. I actually really like this one. Let me download this as well. Let's save this one. That looks awesome. I'm going to call this one truck 1. We'll save it that way. And just to show you the difference, I'll open it and I'll take a screenshot and save this as well. We'll save that to the same folder. And maybe this one needs a little bit of like photoshopping to get rid of the gradient in the sky, or maybe just to change the gradient, maybe to colorize some things. I don't know. I think this looks really cool like it is though. That's awesome. I think that could do very, very well in kind of a camping, a desert community, like people who are like enthusiast about that, or like a truck community as well. People like the square body trucks. So I think that could potentially do very well in the right market. But like I said, we have these pictures. I like this one a lot, but let's go back to that free background remover tool. Free background remover. We can go to remove.bg. We can upload an image, or I can drag and drop it. So let's just drag and drop this one over the skeleton, drop it right there. It'll identify the background. Hopefully, typically these do actually a surprisingly good job. Yeah, look at that. That does a fantastic job. Now we can download it, $4.99 by 500, or max quality. You have to pay for the max quality. So the max quality is 18 cents per image or 20 cents an image. Very, very cheap. Maybe worth it to do that. I actually do already have. I just wanted to show you guys this. Like, if you could also use the lower quality one. Let's just download the lower quality one for now. Just download this one. We'll say skeleton. We'll call this deadlifting. Deadlifting, clear background. We'll save this one. But I actually do have Photoshop, so maybe I'll just remove the background in Photoshop myself so that I can have a high quality one to demonstrate for you guys. But like I said, you could always upgrade, or you could scale this up. It might look just fine when we go back to Canva. So once you do that for maybe 3 or 4 different images you really like, let's go back to Canva now. So we'll go back to Canva. And from here, again, we're in this t-shirt design. Actually, right here's our t-shirt design. So maybe right down here, we can remove the background. So we can just delete that. Click the background, it highlights it purple. Click the delete button, no background. That's great. Now we can go to uploads. We can upload files. And from here, I'm going to go upload the deadlift clear one. So we'll upload this. And by the way, this would also be very beneficial to use Photoshop or even some other free tools out there that are similar to Photoshop that we could recolor this. This will look really good on white or some lighter colors, but if you're working with a black t-shirt, which like a black hoodie might work really well for this, we might want this to be the negative. We might want this to be a white outline of the skeleton instead of a black outline for the skeleton, or we just want to have the bones actually show up as white. Oh, and by the way, this is a new feature on Canva. Let me upload another file and see how well this does. I haven't tried this one yet. So let's upload that. I mean, the truck one's going to be really difficult. Let's go with the astronaut one right here. Upload the astronaut one. And I'm going to drag this over to right here. And let's see, Canva has a background remover on here. So if I could also just crop this to a circle. That would be just as easy. But let's try the background remover. So BG remover, see how it does. See what it does actually. And actually, yeah, this is another Canva Pro option. So if you're going to upgrade to Canva Pro, don't bother with the background remover I just showed you. Instead, just do it on Canva. Like this looks good. Let's make it a little smaller though. And let's just say we're going to, kind of flesh out this design with some text. Maybe this is going to be like seeking water, looking for water, something like that. I think I used a similar design in a previous project where I had an alien going around looking for water, but I don't know. I like the design. I think it looks so good. But let's go and add text. On the left side, we have text. We can add a heading, clicking and dragging that over. And we can say looking for, maybe we'll just say finding water. And we also have some options on here. So if we go to effects, we could make this like curved. If we wanted to have this curved a little bit, we could just make the radius of the circle a little larger, make it concentric with this. Finding water. I don't know. That's like a maybe design right there. It's not my favorite way to have this. I think I might play around with this a little bit. Maybe the font could be different. So let's highlight the font, see what kind of fonts look better here. All right, so I've been playing around with the designs a little bit. These are definitely not finalized, but just kind of showing you what we're working with so far. So we've got this little deadlifting skeleton. I don't know exactly what the text is going to be. This is a variable that I would test, try some different things. Maybe just no text at all. Maybe like an acronym where DEAD stands for like don't ever avoid deadlifts, or something like that. Like kind of just play around with different ideas on that. But I really like the skeleton deadlifting. I think that is really cool. And honestly, I may even let's do it right now. Let's duplicate this and just get rid of the text. And maybe that's going to be like a dope thing to have on a coffee mug or something. Down here, I've been playing around with the font a little bit. This is like finding water. Again, playing with this text is going to be really important. I think this is a really cool image. I think there's a lot of potential there. But maybe it's going to be like water locating team or like whatever. I don't know. Just like playing around some different ideas of what that font is going to be. Also, we want to make sure the color matches. So right now the color is just black on this, but maybe we want it to, I'm not sure if this is exactly black. It looks like there's a little bit of a bluish tint to that. So let's make sure this matches. I'll close this. There we go. So that looks a lot better now. I think that looks like a pretty solid match. I also have down here, this is actually from a previous project. I just wanted to show you guys. Obviously, consult your legal advisor. You don't want to infringe on any copyrights, but it is kind of a whole class of products to have like a parody of some other brand out there. So this is kind of something like people do it with, like, I've seen Aldi's and they call it like Baldi's, and they change the logo to like a bald guy or something, which is just like, you know, simple humor, but it's kind of poking fun at another brand. This one I made because, like, Chick-fil-A, a lot of people go there, and a lot of people, like, for some reason go on Sundays, but they're closed on Sundays. So I always thought, hey, that'd be really funny if it was like Sunday Filet, like, you know, a store open right next to them, and it was like only open on Sundays. So that was kind of a fun little design. I thought that was, it turned out pretty good in my opinion. Then down here, this is just another image that I had ChatGPT make, kind of tying into that retro theme I was talking about before. Like, thinking about retro, I was thinking like the desert and like a you know, square body truck kind of fits in really well. So this image, I would probably just have this image as a graphic tee. Maybe I would move it into Photoshop and make it like a little bit taller, or kind of smooth out the kind of gradient on the top, maybe even remove that cloud, but I think it was good. And then I wanted to make a colorized version of it as well, so I had ChatGPT do that, and I have that right here. So let's kind of just size this up as the final design. We're going to run with all of these, kind of make some products and put them on our store in just a minute, but let's do that background remover. Wow, that was instant. The background remover I found is surprisingly good on this, and if you ever wanted to, you just click on it again, and you can go in and really tweak everything. So it looks like it missed a little spot in this corner, so I can go in here, I can zoom over, let's zoom in on this. Now I can change my brush size and just erase this little sky back here, or not sky, this background right here. Looks like a little bit over here needs to be fixed as well. This was a tricky one, to be fair. There we go. I think this looks pretty solid right now. So now the next step, like I said, we want to actually export these. The way you're going to do that, so let's do one at a time. We'll start off with, say, the deadlifting guy up here. I can just click on share on the top right. Then we can go to download. And if you have premium, like I said, you don't have to get pro, but if you want to, that'll export it without a background. So I'll say transparent background, and I want to select only the first page. Otherwise, it's like you don't want to do that. You just want to have one at a time, so they're individual images. So I'm going to select page 3. I will make sure we have the right size. So whatever size you want. So we can have it a little bit larger than it is now, so we have enough pixels. So I'm going to say done. It's going to download that, and we will have that in our downloads folder. Definitely keep track of where that actually lands. Now I'm going to do that for the other images here, just so we have all of them. Again, just click share, click download, transparent background. This time we're going to deselect all and do page 4. And I'm going to repeat this for all of them off camera, and then we'll have them in our folder. Right, so now we have our design, now we have our store, now we have Gelato. Let's start tying all of these together, starting off from that middle core right there of Shopify. We want to make sure that we connect our Gelato to Shopify. So in order to do that, go back to your Shopify tab, and we can go to Add Apps. From here, you can go to Shopify App Store. You'll see it on the bottom. Now we can type in Gelato print on demand should pop up. We can click on that, and we can say install. Then click on install again after reading the privacy policy and, you know, the basic permissions. And it looks like our store is successfully connected. Like I said, you just want to go through that process just to double check and make sure that it is properly connected. And in case it didn't connect before, that's the process you would do to actually connect it. And now we can actually start setting up our first product if you want to. But again, I'm going to say skip for now. And we're going to go back to Gelato and start looking at some of the different products we can actually start to build. So if I go to product catalog, we can then say, let's say the first one's going to be a t-shirt, right? A very basic thing that a lot of people might want to really get started with. I'm going to say men's clothing. We're going to say t-shirts, and I'm just going to roll with a Gildan 5000. Again, very common t-shirt. Like I'm probably wearing one right now. You might be wearing one right now as well. So this is $8.38, $3.99 economy shipping, and we have a lot of colors and sizes that we can choose from. Now I want to add this to the store. So I'm going to say, all right, doesn't really matter what size you select for now. We'll say add to store, adding to our Shopify store. Now, when you get here, you want to click on publish your first product. That'll bring us into this little kind of workflow that we can start creating and adding our first product. So now we can choose our first product. I'm going to get into a lot of things. Wall art, of course. We'll talk about calendar and phone cases and stuff like that. But let's start off with the most basic one, something that I think a lot of people are probably going to be looking to do with their store here. And that's going to be clothing. We're going to start off with just a basic Gildan 5000. So if we go to t-shirts, Gildan 5000, most people will have them. Like I'm probably wearing one right now, to be honest. You might be wearing one as well. So let's check it out. So it's $8.38 for the t-shirt, $3.99 for shipping. We've got a bunch of different colors to choose from. You can choose printing or embroidering. Embroidering is going to be just on the pocket on the left chest. I'm going to go with printing. For this, for most of the designs, printing usually makes the most sense because you get, a larger area that you can actually work with. And then we can choose which colors we want to work with. So you have like natural color, you've got green, blue, whatever. I'm going to stick with just the white one for now, just really basic running through how this works. Below that, we have the sizes that you want. And by the way, you can actually select multiple colors. I should have mentioned that. So maybe you want to have like a tan one. Is this tan sand color? Sure. We can select as many as we want. And those are going to be multiple options for the end user or the customer to actually choose from. Same thing with the sizes. You can add, 4XL, 5XL if you want to accommodate more sizes there. Those are going to have different prices, but we can price accordingly for that, so no worries on that. And then kind of might as well just go through this whole design process right here. On the bottom, you can see the different views of the shirt, so you can actually print in different areas besides just the front, which is very nice that Gelato offers that. It's going to be a different price, of course, if you only print on the front versus on all of these different areas. The more setups that you actually need to do for each product, the more expensive it's going to be. So I'm just going to do front for now, but in the future, we will talk about adding like outer neck, sleeve design, things like that. Pretty self-explanatory. You just drop your design in there and you'll see it all over in the mockup in a minute. On the left side, of course, product settings, we can do that right now. We've got files. I can choose files. So I'm going to upload some files. Let's just upload, maybe the first one could be that deadlift one. Let's just go and let's add that deadlift one. And from here, you can just click on the plus and it'll drop it right in the middle. It sizes it accordingly, but you can always drag it around, move it, you can rescale it. But you can see that little dotted line is going to be your boundary, and it gives you a warning when you are either at a lower resolution than it recommends, so the printing quality won't look as good as it can, or if you're sticking out like beyond the edge of that, you can obviously see that as well. So let's go back to, let me delete it and actually just drop it in again as it was. So let's resize. So let's just click on the plus, drops it in, good DPI, everything looks good. And then going down the left side, other options we have. So you could build your design here instead of in Canva if you wanted to, because you could drop in an image like I showed you in Canva. There's also text tools down here, so you can add some text in there however you want, and you've got all the tools on the top to change the font, change the size, change the underlining, and of course move it around anywhere you want within that permissible rectangle. I'm going to delete this little text though. We don't need this text box. So I'm going to highlight that and click on backspace to get rid of that. Going down, we have templates, of course. We have, which we didn't make any templates yet. We have different graphics and stickers you might want to add on, and layers. So as you have more things, so if I go and add text, let's say I want to add some text right there. Maybe we want that to be behind the skeleton. Maybe it's harder to edit and kind of, if you have too many layers, it might be tricky. But going to layers allows you to edit everything individually. So we've got our text right here. We can move that behind the skeleton, like I mentioned. We can also, rename different layers. We can remove that layer, and that just makes it a little bit easier when you start having a lot going on with your design. Below that, we have personalize. I will talk a lot about that in a bit. I think that's a really cool feature that allows you to have, end user personalization. So instead of say deadlift, maybe it's like their name, for example. Makes more sense in other applications, but that's how you could do that here. And other things down there that I'm not really going to talk much about. Self-explanatory. We've got like shapes. We've got some Shutterstock footage or images if you want to add those in. Different layouts if you want to have, a grid shape, for example. But let's kind of continue on with this design as we have it right now. On the top right, I'm going to, well, first of all, we can save the design. So it's saved in our templates. That's great. So we can use that in the future if we ever wanted to in anything else. Now I can say continue to mockups. You see across the top our progress. Next is going to be mockups. And this is by default going to be different for each product. Like some products just have a lot of mockups available. Others have, a couple good mockups, but maybe not as many. So this one, you can see we don't have any models wearing this necessarily. We just have different angles of the shirt, and there's different ways we can create mockups on other third-party platforms out there. But for now, I think these all look, pretty solid. Let's start off by including just the side view. Actually, let's go this side view. Of course, the t-shirt right there. And we're going to be, I think that looks just fine. You could download them if you want to use them in future marketing materials. That could be very beneficial if you're sharing it on like Instagram, for example. But I will continue to details now, and we can make a product name and a description and things like that. So we're going to call this Do You Even Deadlift Heavyweight Unisex Crew Neck T-shirt, Gildan 5000. And then down here, we have our little description there. And what I usually like to do is, this is a great opportunity to just use ChatGPT. So back in ChatGPT, so we'll just ask for a quick little description right here of the product. And I mean, choose your tone on how this is going to sound. Some products, maybe you want them to be more of like a message. Like this one, I'd kind of more follow like the Liquid Death style of marketing. But you know, you could also just have it focused on like environmental friendliness, if it's like, you know, pure cotton, different things like that, pre-shrunk, all these different things. I don't know, stuff that you can, you know, be a little more creative on your description there. Down here, we have our sizes. Let's include these. Care instructions, let's include that. Everything here looks good. And then we can go continue to prices. Now, this is what I said before, where you can create all of your prices according to the cost to you. So if you just want to have a set margin of 50%, keep in mind that's just the margin on this. That doesn't account for your other costs in your business, which you will have to factor in. What are your costs for marketing, for obviously owning a store, you know, different things like that you will want to factor in. So maybe you want your margin to be like 62%, for example, and we can update that, and you can see all of these now have their profits set. And so you'll see the final price is going to be, so you'll see the final price is over on the left side here. So if you have like the sand one in large, it's $25.26. And maybe you want to adjust these to a more round number. So maybe instead of percent, you could also do this just based on, set profit to a certain amount of dollars. Maybe you want to profit $5 per shirt, keep it a little simpler, and then you can see lower numbers, but, very simple numbers. Now, this is, of course, not including shipping. You have to think about that. So if someone's buying this shirt right here, $14.60, they're going to pay about $19 when it's all said and done for that t-shirt, which is not unrealistic. That's, it's a graphic t-shirt. So that's kind of a lower profit than I would really go for. Let's go back to that 62% margin, like I said. And now we have our prices. Maybe you want to go through again and kind of change, like maybe this is going to be $25.95, and maybe we want both colors to be the same price. So to do that, we could just say $25.95, and that'll set it for that. So play around with your prices. I'm going to continue to review, and now you can see all of the whole permutation, all the different products we have so far are right here, and I can save it as a template if we want to use that again in the future, or just publish that. So the template would be beneficial if it's saved. The template's very beneficial if you're doing a lot of different graphics, which we will be doing, and you want to save the same pricing structure. That could be very convenient. I'm going to say publish, though. We'll say publish. And our first product, congratulations, which, by the way, congratulations to you as well. You followed along this long in this video. You've already made it further than I would say 98% of people who are considering making a business. Most people just never take the action. So it's very exciting that you already made it this far and you have a product. We have to put it on our website and really design the site, but you're making a lot of great progress right now. So you can see right here, it's waiting to be published. You'll see a little green dot there once it is, but we can start moving on to our next product in the meantime. So let's click on add product right here. We're going to add a single product, and this time let's move on to, again, a piece of clothing. We're going to go a little step further and print on some other parts of the clothing. Maybe you want to add a brand on the collar, for example, or somewhere else. So let's check out some 3/4 sleeves. Some 3/4 sleeves here. We can find, quite a few different colors, and if you just click through them, you'll see what they look like on the right side. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, it may be beneficial to make different versions of your designs for light and for dark clothing. So that skeleton deadlifting, it was a black outline with a transparent background. Looks great on a white product, but if you want to put it on a darker color product, you'll probably want to do the inverse of that and have the skeleton actually white with no black outline, and then that would look a lot better on darker clothing. Just something to keep in mind. All right, so I'm not really in love with this product in general, the 3/4 sleeve here. I might want to change it out, but let's kind of go through the exercise of just checking out what our design would look like. I think for this one, let's choose file from my device, and maybe this one would just be good with that like a desert retro scene. Maybe that would kind of fit in here a little bit. Oh, so this one, there's really not a big printable area. Okay, so I'm gonna go back. Let's skip the 3/4 sleeve. Let's find a different product here. So we're gonna go back. We'll say discard, and let's choose a different product. It's going to be a process to kind of go through which products you actually like and which ones really make the most sense on your store. So maybe we're just going to do a hoodie. Hoodie's pretty solid. Gildan classic pullover. Looks like a pretty competitive price there. So that'll allow us to have the design on here and still make some profit without charging, too much money. But if you do really want some really high quality materials, you might want to check out some of the other products that are available. You can see some of these are a little bit more expensive, but it's like a canvas one. but it's like it's a Bella canvas one. There's eco-conscious ones that are recycled polyester if you're looking for that. Let's roll with the classic Gildan 18.5. And we can go to files again. I already have that, so let's drop that in here and see how that looks. If I stretch it out, see if we can maintain. Okay, so I actually might need to export this slightly larger. The pixel density is a little bit too low here. Unless we make it smaller, it'd have to be that size to really look good. That's kind of a good size as well. Let's make sure we center it. And by the way, you can see these little purple lines pop up. It might be really difficult to see on the screen recording, but as I move around, it kind of suggests like we can vertically center it right there and then left, right, center when that pops up. So that's kind of how you can arrange where the product or where the image is and make sure it's not like slightly off center. Again, we've got the sizes here. If we go back to product on the top, sizes, colors, maybe we want this one available in more of like a retro tone. So maybe tan. Tan looks kind of decent. Maybe something lighter than tan. Pink doesn't look too bad either. Brown looks pretty good as well. I kind of like brown. So that looks pretty good. White and dark chocolate. Let's go continue to mockups. And here, these mockups again are pretty basic. We just have, the actual product. You can see the front and the back of it. So we'll include both of these mockups here. Let's get out of that. Both these mockups can be included. We'll say continue to details. Again, the pricing, let's just do a flat 62% across the board. And with the details, you'll also notice we can generate with AI here instead of going over to ChatGPT. So Gelato does have that feature in there. Pretty nice. Let's make the 62% or maybe 65% on these. See what the pricing looks like. $55, a little more expensive. So maybe we'll have like 45% profit on this one. $35, I think that's much easier to sell. So you play around with the pricing, of course, depending on how effective your ads are. We'll say continue to review. And for this one, I'm going to publish. Now, let's start adding another product. We're going to go through, a handful of products here. In each product, I want to show you one additional thing compared to what we showed before. So it's not repetitive. I want to really show you more that's actually going on. So let's say another single product. This time, I really want to find one that has more mockups so I can really show you what I was talking about when I mentioned the mockups, besides just like showing it on a hoodie, for example. So let me find one. Here we go. Okay, so this is a good example of some mockups where you can actually see like it puts it on a model wearing it, and they put the little strings in the way. So this actually does a pretty good job, in my opinion, of making it look more realistic. And this should also help to sell more products as well, when people can see like, all right, this is what it would actually look like when somebody's wearing it. It looks a little funky from the side angle, but I think the front looks really good. I like this mock-up a lot, so I'm going to include this one for sure. And again, this design, yeah, it's okay. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of like I think maybe I'll probably change the design in the future and put the text like below it or something, especially for a product like this where it's a taller, thinner hoodie that has, the whole design box is up here, and I'm kind of filling the whole design box. The pocket's very long, so for this kind of product, I would probably put the text below it. Something to play around with later, just a little detail there. Let's continue the details here, and we'll add this to our store, and I'll publish that. Now, we can actually see, this is what I was talking about before. Once these actually get published on the bottom, you'll see, or on the right side rather, those 3 dots. So the green one's going to say how many are ready to go, and we have 16 different variants that are just ready to go here. We can see how many variants are not connected, so something's not working right, or some that are just being ignored. You could say, hey, let's stop doing that variant, that color or size, for example. Okay, so there are really 3 more things I want to add as far as products go. One is going to be a different style of product, a mug or a wall art, for example. Another one's going to be embroidering, just so I can show you that's a little bit interesting how that works. And the third thing is going to be the personalization. So we could really do it in whatever order. I was going to say whatever order you want, but obviously you can't tell me. This is a YouTube video. So let's just start off with the wall art. Let's go with that first, and then we'll get into the others. So I'm going to go and add a product again. And we have a couple more designs I'm going to test out anyway. So it makes sense to do it that way. So add a product. Let's click add product, single product. And this one, I think I saw like a wooden print. I think that would look really cool if we have a transparent background. So let's go to the wall art right here. And as I mentioned, a lot of cool stuff here. The wooden one down here looks awesome. Acrylic might look really good, kind of glossy there. And aluminum also looks really cool. So let's go with the wooden one, kind of see what the pricing looks like here, see what variables we have. So you can see we have 2 different thicknesses. You can go with the larger or the smaller thickness. I'm going to actually have both as an option, so anyone can really choose between them. We can have vertical or horizontal, and also like this is a square, so it doesn't matter, but you can change the dimensions down here, 8x12, 8x24, that's gigantic. So shipping costs, of course, are going to be a lot more, as you can imagine, if you're doing like a 28 by 40 piece of wood that's being printed on. So I'll go with a nice small one, maybe 8 by 12. That gives us that aspect ratio we've really been working with anyway. Although a lot of ChatGPT outputs, or DALL-E outputs rather, are square. So maybe the square one would work for that. Obviously, if you're an artist and you're making your own stuff, then whatever aspect ratio works for you or that you made should be just fine here. So let's go to files, and of the files, let me drag this back over. These are the ones that we have. I'll make this a little bit larger so you can actually see. So these are the designs we are working with here. Honestly, I forgot to even mention, I found this one. This is just a screen grab. I thought this was really cool, kind of tackling a different niche entirely of just like chess is a huge one. People are very, very passionate about chess. Typically, people who play chess a lot tend to be, big thinkers. They might have a job that pays well also. So if we open that, you can see this one's just like a checkmate in two. It's kind of like a fun little puzzle that when you look at it, like, it's just kind of fun. It's a fun thing to have maybe on your wall or maybe on a mug, or I don't know, conversation starter if you put it on some apparel as well. So maybe that would be a good one. I don't think there's any other designs we made that we haven't used yet. So sure, let's roll with this one. It's wood anyway, so that kind of looks good. And so I'm going to click on that. Oh, sorry. I'm going to drag that over rather. So let's just do it like this. We'll drag this over to there. And because this is a square, I guess I have to go back on my statement and make this actually a square setup as well. So 8 by 8 is what it's going to be. Go to files. We already have it right there. Click on it. It's a plus. And then we want to make sure this fits in correct. There's some kind of margin on the outside for where that's going to be. And maybe we just want to print this. Just a simple little thing. Maybe it's cool to have like in an office, thought-provoking, people like chess. And by the way, comment down below if you know what the answer is for how to get checkmate in 2 moves here. It's kind of interesting. Let's go over to mockups now. And this one, just like I mentioned before, has a lot of different mockups that are kind of more realistic. Some of these require you to get Gelato Plus to actually use them. Actually, pretty much all of them require Gelato Plus. There is a solution though. Sometimes you can get some wall art in Canva kind of realistically shown. Not always, but just something to consider. These are all like a little bit more zoomed out. So I don't know if I really feel the need to upgrade to these for that. We'll talk about upgrading if you want to get Gelato Plus. There are some other benefits later, but I'm just going to go with just this for now. Just, that as the primary image. We'll continue to details. And it looks like the product is going to cost us about $18. Shipping is also very expensive, so keep that in mind with what you're shipping. If it's going to be something that's perhaps more fragile like wood versus something that's, plastic and maybe a little bit more durable, you want to kind of factor that in when you're making the prices and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go with this one. We're going to say publish. That'll show up down there. And now, like I said, the other 2 things I want to show you, we have embroidery and we have personalization studio. Now, let's start with embroidery. That's pretty simple. It's not going to take too much time to do. So let's go to, let's say, men's clothing. We'll just put this on a t-shirt again. That's pretty straightforward. And why don't we do like the Santrel media? Do we have navy? There we go. Navy. Let's do embroidery. Let's just do like Santrel media here. This is kind of where I think it's easier to, instead of putting your design in, which you definitely could, but keep in mind the design has to be fairly specific. You don't want too many colors in there. And I find it's easy just to add your text and your graphics here within this editor. Makes it a little bit easier in my opinion. But let's start with white, and we're just going to say Santrel media, and maybe I just want to add like the white logo up here. You can also choose the stitching color on this as well. I'm going to go with the white stitching. It kind of shows it like as you add it in, it'll kind of render it. So you can see like that's the font, and then it kind of renders what that will look like on a t-shirt. Let's go add this right here. We'll kind of put it a little bit higher, see how this looks. And this again is that pocket, so I can zoom out. It's going to be right up there on the left chest pocket. Okay, honestly, not too bad. I think that looks pretty solid. I think let's make sure we center everything right there, centered. And let's add something on the left sleeve as well. And here you can see what palette do we want? What kind of threads do we want for this? Again, let's just leave it as white. Let's rotate our text. I don't know, I'm just adding random text here just to show you how this would actually work. There we go. It'll render and we have that. So all right, we have this. Let's continue to mockups. And essentially that's how embroidering works. You just choose a thread. You don't want too much going on there. You want to be fairly simple. And embroidering, of all the things you can make, I think embroidering is the most important to order a sample to see what the threads actually look like. These renderings do a good job for sure, but I think it's just kind of sometimes the way the stitching actually works, it's so much easier to see in real life and figure out like, oh, I actually should have made that a little bigger, or I should have chosen a font that didn't have the same details on there, different things to really make it look as good as possible. Let's continue to details. And I think you guys know the drill now. I'm going to skip through this, but we add a name, a description, and of course the prices. Now we have 5 products. We want to add that 6th final product that I was talking about before, which is going to be personalized. And let's do this one based on, I don't know, based on like the user's name, for example. So same process for this one. You just go to add a single product. You can choose any product, pretty much any product you want. So for this one, let's do a mug. I think mugs are kind of cool. And they have a couple different ones. They've got like a thermal mug that I think this is the one that changes, like the design shows up when it actually has hot liquid in there. So the temperature kind of affects that. Really cool idea there. We've got the classic enamel mug, or of course, just, you know, the really cheap one right there. $5 for just a basic mug. I'm going to go with this one right here. I just think that's kind of a cool looking mug, and it might fit in better with this one, with what I'm trying to do. So what I want to do is, you can see it shows you, you see this little kind of icon on the top, kind of difficult to see that. That's like the handle sticking out the side. So it shows you what the orientation is. This is directly opposite of the handle. So the handle's all the way over here and over there. And so for this one, I want to add, we're going to start off with a basic design and then allow the user or the customer to add their own things to this. So let's add, I have a little, just a dog design here. Maybe this would be a great example of somebody, like they can add their dog's name on here. And if it's a common style of dog, maybe a golden retriever or a pug or something that many people have, it would be nice to kind of start off with that. So let's make this a little larger. And I'm going to put it over maybe like right there. We can have 2 of it, so I can copy and paste it over here as well. And then we can go down to personalize. And this you actually do have to upgrade to get Personalization Studio on here. Not every store makes sense to have this, but let's add a personalized layer. And this could be an image. Maybe they actually put their own dog on there. That's like a real thing you could do. Maybe it's text. Maybe it is something like that. Let's start off with text. And the sample text is going to be, I don't know, let's call this dog Norman. Kind of cool. And we can change the font on this. So whatever text they input, it's going to have this font. It's going to have this size. Everything's really going to be pretty much the same. So let's go and make this like Norman's going to be, let's give Norman some dimension here. And if we go to layers, like I said, this is where you can kind of like move it behind the dog if you wanted to. Maybe if his ears stick up a little bit so you can kind of see Norman there. I don't know, just kind of messing around with this. You get the idea of how you can add in this stuff, and then I'll show you what it actually looks like when it's personalized. So let's say Norman, sure, Norman can just be, let's go right there. And let's copy this and put this in a second spot. So duplicate that, and I'm going to put the other Norman right over here so we could see it mirrored on both sides of the mug. And again, it's in front, but I want it to be in the back, so you guys know how to do this now. We go to layers, or we're already on layers right here, and we drag this text down to the bottom as well. So now line it all up. It's looking pretty solid. Let's continue to mockups. It'll show you what the mug looks like. We do have to get Personalization Studio, as I mentioned before. So we'll start off with the free trial. Okay, there we go. We have our 14-day free trial. Now we can continue, and this should be good. So like I said, continue to mockups, see what this actually looks like. And hopefully the mockups are the right angle here. Yeah, okay, so this is awesome. Look at that. Norman, the dog. You know, you enter your own dog's name to go in the background there. It's behind the ears. It's kind of hidden. And you can have some other mockups that, again, look at these mockups. They actually look surprising. I always thought the mug ones of all the mockups probably looked the best. Looks pretty solid. I like that. I'm going to add all of these kind of realistic ones. You know what? Let's just add all the mockups in general. Say continue to details. And now we can name this, choose our prices, and continue to review. There we go. Now we have that set up. So let's say sometime in the future, you decide you want to add another product that we didn't just add today. So if we want to add another one, you can go to dashboard.gelato.com. It'll bring you to a page like this. And you want to make sure you go down to stores, click on add product, click on select or single product. And from here, I want to add a poster. So if we scroll down, you'll see wall art. And within wall art, we can go to posters, and they have quite a few of posters as well. You know, pretty much every category here has a bunch within it, like a bunch of different t-shirts, a bunch of different mugs. So we've got the fine art poster that I'm probably going to go with right here. We've got the matte paper. We've got some glossy ones, just a bunch of different ways you can set up your poster. I'm going to go with the fine art poster right here. It's also a little bit more affordable. So for this product, we can do horizontal or vertical. I'm going to select horizontal. And for horizontal, let's say we want this to be, I don't know, maybe like, let's go with the larger size, maybe 18 by 24. That'll be a good size. And then we want to deselect this one here, we don't want to have vertical and horizontal. So deselect that, and that'll bring you to the editor to horizontal. So a little quirk there that maybe the first time through you might not notice what's going on there. So horizontal, we can have multiple sizes as well if you want to have a bigger or smaller option available on your store. Then we can go down to files. I'm going to upload this file right here, just a photo I took when I was in Iceland on a trip like maybe 1 or 2 years ago. I love this photo. I would love to have it as a poster, and I think this would be a cool one to have other people buy as well. So I'm going to continue to mockups. And by the way, obviously, posters can be any design you want, but look at these mockups. These are actually really good mockups in my opinion, perhaps the best mockups we've seen yet. So we can view like on some different walls. So upgrading to Gelato Plus, I think makes a lot of sense for mockups like this to show what your poster would look like in other situations. Continue to details, of course, as usual, add your title, your description, continue to prices, continue to review, and then we can publish that to our store. So we have all of our products here, finally ready to go. Now we can actually go into the next step of this process, which is over on our store. So if we go back to our Shopify tab, let's just refresh this, make sure that we have everything up to date. We should have our products automatically synced over here. So if I click on products, you'll see all of our products are active. They're all there. They're ready to go, which is going to make our job incredibly easy. So thanks for your patience there. I know it took a little time to get the product set up and you probably had to just like blindly trust me that it was going to be easy eventually, but yes, this is it. That is why we choose a hands-off supplier that links well with Shopify so that it is so much easier when we make our design. Now, we can spend basically the rest of this video on Shopify before going into, of course, our marketing with TikTok ads and Facebook ads and stuff like that. So the Shopify dashboard may be intimidating to beginners, but I actually really like the dashboard. It's very, very clean. And once you know where things are, I think you'll be, quite happy with it as well. But on the bottom, you'll see sales channels. That is anywhere that your product is going to be sold. Right now, it is just going to be on your online store. We have to get a domain, of course, so we're going to set up the online store first. But there are other sales channels that will show up down here in the future. If you're selling on Instagram, for example, on TikTok Shop, for example, on like Etsy or Pinterest, anywhere else that you might be, connecting this and selling, that'll show up down here in sales channels. So let's start off with the online store though. So we can click on online store and a little menu pops up below there. The first one, of course, is themes. And this is going to be our template. We can start with a fully pre-built store, and Shopify has a bunch to choose from. So what we can do right here is we can go to add theme and say, visit the theme store. We want to find a better theme, a different template that works for us. Make sure you are signed into your account, of course. And then we can just browse the themes. Click on this little button that says browse themes. And within here, you can select either paid ones, which usually they're like $2 or $3, maybe more than $300, which is definitely expensive when you're getting started out. I think most people could start with a free one and get, pretty much everything they need to. In the future, if you ever want to redesign your site with a paid theme, because, business is booming and you want to just rank a little bit higher on Google with a slightly faster load speed, you can easily do that in the future and migrate no problem at all. So don't feel too locked into your theme. I recommend starting off with a free one in the very beginning anyway. So if we scroll through, there are only 13. It's a little bit limiting. The paid ones, that list grows every time I make one of these videos. The free ones, there's always like 12. Now there's 13. Not really much growth there. But like I said, it's definitely more than enough to get the job done. So if you're selling a single product, I've always liked Origin. If we click on that, you can see just how clean and minimal it is. Like it starts off basically like just a title, a little tagline there, and then the product right away. And if you scroll down, of course, we can customize all of it, but I've always really, really liked this one for a single product. Because we have a bunch of products here, I think I would rather showcase something that maybe has more products on it. So maybe this one, Refresh, is another one I kind of do like. At the top, you've got this little banner here that kind of cycles through. It's like a carousel of images. And then down here, we've got some different products listed there. So realistically, I think I would like a hybrid of the two, maybe one featured product in the top and then a bunch of products below. So again, don't feel too tied into this theme. Everything is going to be customizable. This is just a really good starting point for your online store. So you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with Origin. I think this is a good one. We could just click on try theme. You can also view the demo store if you want to click around and see how it works, but I'm just going to use this theme right away. and we can have maybe one featured product at the top and then a bunch below that. Now, before you actually continue, this is something that a lot of people get wrong. They get the new theme and they're like, why is it not showing? Why don't I have that new theme yet? And the reason, there's two things. One is because you didn't publish that theme. You still have the Dawn theme up here. So this is showing you what's actually active. And these are the other themes you have, but you don't actually use yet. So if you ever want to migrate to a new theme, that's kind of what this process is meant for. You could build out the site down here and then publish it when you're ready and swap out for your existing site. But because we don't really have an existing site right now, I'm going to click on publish and just make this new theme the primary theme immediately. So let's say publish. And the second thing, remember I said there were two reasons that you might not see your site right away. The second one is because there is by default a password on your site. So I'm going to remove the password. We can click remove password. And now our site should be pretty much ready to edit and build out. So it should look something like this. Let's click on customize. All right, and you're gonna see in just a couple clicks, this website is going to look, really quite good. Let's start off with this section right here. The way it works is a section layout, and on the left side, we have the hierarchy here. So if I collapse some of these, I think it'll make a little bit more sense. You can see these are all sections. The first level here, the highest level of this hierarchy is going to be the section. So the header is a section. Down here, this is a little text box. This is a section. This product is a section as well. And within each section, you have different columns, different elements. So this has text in it. This one down here is just an image. This one has 3 columns in it. And so we can add others just by clicking the plus button. And there are a lot of sections you can choose from. Maybe you want to have like a little about me section, or you want to have something that showcases your blog posts, or maybe you want to show, just an email sign up form. There's different kind of pre-structured sections you can add, and it'll just drop it in right there. And when you want to edit a section, you can either click on that section, or on the left side, let's go back to the hierarchy. I like working through the hierarchy. It makes it a little bit easier. We can click on that section. So featured product, this section. Say we want to edit this one. We can click on select a product first of all. And of our, 6 or 7 products we have so far, 6 products here, we can choose which one we're going to be showing first. Maybe the retro truck one would be a good start right there. And like I mentioned already, this is looking quite good. They put in the title on the right side, the price, they show us different payment options. We can choose, the color and the sizing. All of this is made very easily. And then over here, you'll have all the different photos. It can cycle through them, when you have your own photos in here. So let's say maybe instead of this one, we want to replace this product with maybe the mug. Maybe the mug's a good one right there. And so you can see the mug one, unfortunately, the default image has white in the background. So we'd rather have something that either is like a realistic example of it on a table, or maybe just a transparent background. And we can choose what the default image is back on Gelato. But what I'm going to do is actually just replace this one and go back to the one that we already had. I thought that looked quite good, having the retro truck. I think that looks good. And then scrolling down, let's say we want to change some other things on here. So let's take things a bit deeper and look into this section right here. So as I mentioned, we have the section, which is just rich text. And by the way, you could rename these if you wanted to. You could duplicate them, you can hide them, you can remove them. And when you click on that, when you click on the highest level here, just rich text, you're able to change some fundamental settings about it. You can make it, if it's going to be left or right, justified, center, justified. Of course, the alignment down here, the color scheme. We have 5 different color schemes, and you want to make these color schemes. We'll do this in a second, so that they kind of, each section is just going to choose one of them. It makes it a lot easier rather than you having to change the background of every single section. This one, you could just say, like, I kind of like the background, it matches well, but maybe we want to have a darker one. I don't know. We could just say scheme 3 could be this right here. Like I said, I think it's fine at scheme 1 where it was, and that's going to be how you change like the font color and stuff like that as a whole scheme for that section. We could also make it full width if you wanted to. So you saw those little black bars, or the kind of discolored bars on the side. Make it full width, that will go away. So for coloring reasons, that might be what you want to do. I'm going to revert it to where it was. We also have padding on the top and the bottom. That's going to be how much extra space you have above and below that. So that was at 40. I think 40 looks quite good. And so that's the setting you have right there. But if we go back, say you want to edit the context within that. So within rich text, you have a text box. We can add other things in there as well. We can add other, what they're called, blocks. We've got like a heading, you can have a caption, you can have text, buttons. Now we have several other blocks we could add in here, but this one, because it's a text block, this one's rich text, this entire section, we can't add images to this one in particular. And with all of these sections, maybe we want to reorganize some of them. Maybe you want the featured product at the top, and this is still useful, but maybe we want it a little bit lower. You can do that on the left side when you hover over this little 6-dot array here. We can click and drag that below, and it kind of highlights, you can see on the right side as we move that around. So I want to put that below the featured product. Actually, I really don't even need it entirely, but I just wanted to show you how to move it. And if we want to get rid of it, of course, hover here and just click on that little trash can button. Now, going back to the featured product on the top, here you can see we have many different things we can go into. So remember before we only had a title we could edit. Now we can edit a lot of other things. We can add other blocks within here. The title is, we could choose the size of that. If you want to edit what the title actually says, because that really does say quite a bit, you would have to go back to Gelato for that and go down to stores, go to your store, which you can see right here. We'll click on view store, and then we can find the product. So this is the product right here. If you click on it, we can then edit the design. We can edit the details. So the details, let's say we want to make this a little bit of a shorter title. So we can just get rid of, we'll just call it Hoodie, and we'll get rid of this. All of this can be added in the description down below. So maybe I want to add that down there. So we can then publish this to the store. It'll update that. And then if, sometimes it takes a minute for this to show up, but if I refresh this, let's actually make sure we save. Then we can refresh, save, and then refresh our store. You should have a much shorter title over on the right side. There we go. So now a retro truck in the desert, Hoodie, way simpler, and that way it takes up less vertical real estate, so it's going to look a little bit cleaner. But let's talk more about the editing options we have here. The price, if you click on that, so we want to keep the price there. There's not a whole lot you can really change about that one. The variant picker, you can choose if it's going to be a drop down or if it's going to be pills. I think the pill shape looks good. The swatch, you could have circle, square, or none. And if we go back, we can also change like the buy buttons. If you want to have the PayPal option on there, or if you want to have dynamic checkout, some things you can toggle on and off. And lastly, the little share thing, in case somebody wants to send it to whoever who might be buying a gift for them. Just like that's kind of a convenient button to have right there. Now, before we continue editing anything else, I think it's important to talk about the color schemes we have available, because that's really going to matter a lot more down here when we're working on these other elements, these other sections. The first one, there's not a whole lot I want to change about that, but let's go on the left side. You'll see this little gear icon. These are theme settings. And within theme settings, we have really a number of settings that we need to address. But the first one, of course, is going to be those 6 different color schemes. There's only 5 set right now, but within any one of those, we can go into it. So let's just go with the first one just because that's already being used. Or actually, I kind of like how that one looks. Let's edit scheme 3, which is used down here. This is scheme 3. You can tell by the color there. So if I click on that, I can change the background. So maybe the background is going to be more of like a deep blue, or I don't know, whatever works well with like if you have some color scheme in mind for what you want for your logo and your overall branding. You can have a gradient if you wanted that. I mean, this is really funky. I'm not looking to do something like this, but you know what? If that's what you want, that is an option that is available. So let's disable this gradient. We could just remove the gradient. And by the way, if there's ever anything you don't like that you just did, the little undo button is on the top right. You can also do Command Z on Mac or Control Z on Windows. We have the button options, the text color options. So all of these being white, I think is just fine. The solid button, we can match this color as well. So I highly recommend you highlight the first color, copy this. This is called an HTML color code, and we can use that in many different applications. We'll be using that in our logo, for example, in a minute, as well as anywhere else if you want to match the exact same color, which I think is quite valuable. So if we click on the button, we could just highlight that number and paste the other one, and you'll see it'll match it. It'll match it exactly now. Same thing with the shadow. Shadow, we can go and match that exactly as well. Sorry, let's highlight that, delete, and paste our other one in there. There we go. So that's how you can go about editing color schemes. And while we're in this side panel here, there's a couple other things I think we really should be editing. Typography, if you want to change the fonts, I mean, this theme came with the font that I think looks, pretty standard, pretty easy to work with in many different applications. But if you wanted to change it, you can go and find some other system fonts in here. So maybe you can scroll through and maybe just really want this one, for example, you can make that your font. So So I don't really like that one, but whatever, we'll save it for now. Just kind of demonstrating what features are available. Additionally, you can have your font scale, your size right here if you want to change that, make things, larger or smaller. Same thing with the body font down here. The layout changes your page width and how much space you have between template sections. If things feel a little bit too close, you can add some more space there. We have animations. So right now I have animations only set for when you're scrolling. Things will kind of reveal as you scroll, which is kind of nice for load speed. But we also have the hover effect here. If you wanted to kind of have certain things move or do different things like cards and buttons when you actually hover over them, I'm going to leave that disabled right now. But you know what, just to kind of demonstrate that, let's click save. And then I'll click on, once it's saved, I'll click on the 3 dots here and I will view this website. It'll open it in a new tab. And this is like how the actual user would visit your site, what it would look like. So I have some buttons down here. If we scroll down, you'll see, I just added this section in real quick to demonstrate this. If you move your mouse over there, the button like moves a little bit. It's kind of a fun animation, very subtle. And I think it's actually kind of tasteful in many websites out there. So let's leave that enabled. Otherwise, if we go back to where I was, in your theme settings, animations, we have some button settings here. So if you want to add a radius to your buttons, and keep in mind, a lot of these kind of boxes up here are not really categorized as buttons. I think the PayPal one is categorized as a button, but let's look at this button down here for a better example. We can have a border thickness if you want to have it, or you can have them more or less opaque if they're going to blend in with the background. Really what I like to change is a border radius. Sometimes the square buttons just feel a little too harsh in my opinion. So let's add like a 15 pixel radius on there. It's kind of hard to see on this one, but you can, sorry, it just took a second to update. Go back to 15. So yeah, just a nice little radius on that right there. We can add a shadow if you're feeling like having a shadow on the buttons to make them look a little more three-dimensional. The animation kind of makes that unnecessary in my opinion. The variant pills are up here. So rather than buttons, that's where you can change the settings on these. So we can add maybe a matching radius there, or maybe slightly smaller, maybe a 12 pixel radius because they are slightly smaller. I'll hit enter and these should all be a little bit more round. I think that looks a bit better. We can also change the opacity of these. You can make them, a little bit more opaque or a little bit less opaque. Kind of gives them a nice shadow that's, about 30% opaque there. If you have any inputs, you can customize that here. You can customize product cards. You can customize collection cards. We don't have any collections right now. We can do blog cards. Again, we don't have any blog posts right now. There's a lot of stuff that I recommend going through this and kind of like, making sure that currency, maybe you have your currency code shown or not shown, depending on where you're selling. I think it makes sense to show that in case someone's visiting your website from another country. And of course, some cart settings down here as well. Just kind of dig through this in your own time. And there's going to be a couple settings that you'll have some personal preferences on and really want to change those. And while we're on the left side, the app embeds, right now I'm really not talking too much about that, but we do have the Gelato personalizer, so we can enable that for if we want to have, let's show for example, the personalized product. So if I go back to sections, maybe down here I want to add a section that is another featured product. And this one, we could do that personalizable one. So if I select a product, I believe the mug was the personalizable one. So we can have that. And because it's a white background there, we probably want to make this scheme too, so that it kind of matches in a little bit better. So I think that looks good. Okay, save. That's pretty solid. Let's go back to those settings. Let's go back to those app embeds. So like I said, in the app embeds, if you have a personalizable product like this, you want to make sure that you have this enabled. That's very, very important. Otherwise, they won't really be able to do that. So we'll talk about actually placing a sample order. You see how it's going to work in a minute. Let's close out of that and go back to the editor up here. So I think we're making a lot of progress on this store. Again, it's very basic right now. I really just want to spend some time showing you what the tools are rather than, wasting a lot of time doing little details. Now, we want to edit the header, the footer, some basic things like that. We also don't have a logo on here just yet. So if we want to edit this header up here, we could just click on it. We can choose the logo. Maybe it's top left, might look a little better. It's kind of a maybe older style of website, but I personally really do like that. The menu, right now we don't have any other pages, so no other real menu. You can see your other pages will show up on the top right here. So we have a couple other pages, but we don't have like an About Us page or anything like that. We can create those, but looking at the menu, let's click on this again. We can select a menu. We can actually create our first menu. And this one, maybe I want to call it primary or header menu 1. And we can add items to this menu. So the menu is going to go across the top of the website. It's very common, so I think you'll understand once you see what this looks like. We can add our first menu item, and this could be maybe like our YouTube channel, and this could be a link. This could just be a link right there, and we'll say check. We could also add another one that might be, maybe we want to have our home page collection. Just want to call this, maybe we just want to call this products and just make it our homepage collection, which we'll talk about collections, but that's just going to be essentially all the products we have right now. I could say save, and we could add maybe one more menu item on here. Because we don't have any other pages yet, I'm just going to kind of add a policies one. So we're going to say policy, we'll say return policy. We can look at our policies, or I guess we'll just do privacy policy. We'll do privacy policy for now. We didn't make our return policy just yet. I'm going to say save. And now we have our menu kind of set up. We can also reorder these. So I'll slide this one up. And this is going to be left to right, products, YouTube channel, and then on the right side, privacy policy. So let's close out of this. Or sorry, let's save it. Always save it. I'm glad that pop-up exists. Then we can close out of this. And then from here, we can refresh the page, or save it and then refresh the page, refresh our page. And we should be able to choose that new menu we just made. So select the menu. This is the header menu 1, and now it shows up right there. We can make it a drop down. We can make it a mega menu. We can make it a drawer. There's different ways we can have the menu set up. I think drawer kind of makes the most sense here, so it's hidden over on the left side. We could have a sticky header. We could have it only when you scroll up. It could always be there. You could reduce the logo size, different ways that the header can interact as you scroll down. So I could have it like always there as I scroll, see how it sticks, or only on scroll up. So when you scroll down, it disappears, and the second you go up, it shows up right there. I think that's probably my preferred way to actually have this. The color scheme for the header, again, scheme 1 is kind of matching this. I think that looks good enough for us. I'm going to keep it that way. We can have a language selector, allow customers to have a login. The mobile layout, I think, let's actually view our mobile site. We haven't really done that yet, but Shopify makes mobile sites really look quite good. So speaking of that, let's go to the top right and click on this right here. This is how you switch between the mobile view, the desktop view, and a full screen view. The mobile view, the header is, of course, very similar. We've got the drawer, we've got our logo, and we've got the search bar and a little shopping cart on the right. If you scroll down, everything looks similar, but you'll see things like this. This doesn't look good. Like things that you kind of, it's important to go between desktop and mobile during your editing process to find things like this to say, hey, maybe this needs to be some medium font so that that doesn't happen on mobile. Let's go back to desktop, back to that desktop view. Let's click on the back button here. Let's click on that header again. And you'll notice this really annoying My Store thing. So that's our logo right now. If you wanted to change the logo, which I highly recommend we do this, on the left side, again, go back to theme settings, and logo is the first option there. We can select a logo as well as a favicon. So that's going to be, let me just see on the screen recording, if I pull things down a little bit, see the Shopify logo right here, the Gelato logo right here, the Google Slides logo right here. Those are all favicons, and you want yours to show up, not like a Shopify one. If somebody's on your store, just makes it look a lot more professional, and I would highly recommend that. So to make a logo, maybe you already have one. That's great if you do. If you don't, maybe the next like 3 to 5 minutes, we'll talk about making a quick little logo. So I'm just gonna let's go back to Canva. So let's just go back to Canva, and from here we could just search for logo. And you can even be more specific if you wanted something that was like maybe like a designer logo or something like that. Lots of options. So this one's probably a good start. I'm going to highlight all of this, make it a little bit bigger. So let's roll with this one, a pretty basic design. I resized it using this tool right up on the top left to make it wider so that it looks a little bit more in line with the logo on the store right now. So right now it's kind of stretched out like this. If we made a square one, it would either make it too tall or this really small and kind of invisible in the corner there. So let's kind of add this. So let's add the logo by clicking on select, and I just downloaded it. So I can just click and drag this over here. It will upload that and we can say done. And there we go. It adds our logo right up there. I think that actually looks quite good. We can make it a little bit larger if we wanted to. See how that looks a little bigger? Maybe something in the middle, like 190 might be good. And we can add our favicon as well. This you do want to be square, and you want this to be fairly small, like 32 by 32 pixels, I think, if I remember correctly. So back on Canva, we could look up favicon, find something like this, continue the design, and of course we could just use the same elements we had before, and I'm just going to put it in this little square design here. So we'll drop it in like that, kind of make it more full size here. And we could download this one as well. And when you download it, it'll show you the pixel size. We want this to be a lot smaller, very small, like that. We can add a transparent background or leave it colored. I think on a browser, transparent would probably be just fine. Let's actually do it like this. I'm gonna add a little background there so it's more visible. It'll download right there, and we can go back to our store, right? I believe it's this one. We can add that image just by dragging this over, and our favicon will be set. There we go. Let's say done. And it's scaled down to 32 by 32 pixels. So like I said, even if it's a little bit larger, which I think I uploaded about 250 pixels, it'll be scaled down and shown on the top of our store. Now let's say save. And I think this is really getting, a lot of progress here. We're doing a good job. Let's go back to sections, and on the very, very top, even above the header, is an announcement bar. The announcement bar it's kind of just showing up right there. It could be initially when you first sign in. It could be showing you sales. It could just say welcome to the store. But I want this to, let's click on the text right there. This could say save, or say free shipping with code. There we go. So let's copy this. We can have this link as well to a product. So we might as well just link to a product, and we can link to, I don't know, maybe this product right here. So if somebody clicks on it, they link over to really a collection. I think would make the most sense, linking to a collection. But you might as well have something active up there so they see free shipping and they don't have to remember that code. They just click on that, it'll bring them over, and they can start buying. So they'll see free shipping, they can click on that, it brings them right into the order process, over to a collection or a product, which, by the way, we haven't actually added a collection to this page. Let's do that down here. I think this image, if you have an image of all your products, would be great, but we don't have that right now. So I'm going to remove this and instead add a section in here that's going to be a featured collection, which is the suggestion anyway. It looks great. For this one, I think the background, I would like to use scheme, I think 3 is the white one. Is it 3? Scheme 2 is the white one. Just kind of change up the colors a little bit, break it up so it's not all that, there's a tan color. As far as the collection goes, we can choose our collection right here by clicking on select. And I'm going to go with the homepage collection, which I'm actually not sure. It looks like we only have one product in there. So we do have to build out that collection. I'm going to say save. And speaking of collections, right? We've used this collection quite a bit. So let's take a little detour and build out a collection. If we go back in the other tab to Shopify, just the Shopify dashboard, on the left side, if you go down to products, you'll see collections is below there. And right now we only have homepage as our only collection. I'm gonna make another one just to kind of show you how this is set up. You have two different styles of collections. You have manual and you have smart collections as shown right here. Smart collections you can add based on conditions. So any product that is a certain price, if you have maybe this one's gonna be under $100 could be this one. So this could be a smart collection. And we'd say this is going to be based on if the price is less than $100. And as long as this condition is met, it will be added. So all collections is essentially an and statement saying that this is very narrowing. So every condition has to be met in order to be in the collection. So it could also be, and maybe the category is something else. So it could be t-shirts under $100. So it has to be under $100. And it has to be a t-shirt. If you have any condition, that would be an or statement, which is expanding what is included in this. It could be anything that is $100 or under $100, or it could be anything that is this other condition down here. So that's how you have kind of the compound statement right there. If you want to have more conditions, for something like this, it makes sense just to have it very simple. We can also add our description up here. Again, flush that out as much as you want. And down here, this is showing what it's going to look like on the search engine listing. So if somebody finds this on Google, that's how it's going to show up. It's going to say my store, some gibberish domain. Right now, we're going to fix both of those next. And then our collection is the name of the collection. And of course, the little description we have. So make this look a little bit better so it shows up on Google, but just I wanted to show you how collections work. Additionally, you can add an image here. So if you have an image of your whole collection, we can add that in. I currently do not have an image of that. So I'm just going to add a little dummy image just to kind of show you guys, or let's go with this one right here. We'll say done, just to show you that, the image, you can just put an image in there and that'll work for your collection. So let's say save. And actually, let's switch over to this collection now on the store. So going back to where we were, I hope this doesn't seem too sporadic. It feels like kind of a logical flow. When you're making the website, you'll be bopping back and forth between, editing products and collections and actually designing your store over here. So this collection, I know we chose the home collection, but let's change that. Let's make it the new collection that we just made. If we click on collection, which, by the way, how to get back to this, click on your section that's featured collection. Down here, it says collection, click on homepage. That's the one that we had before. Click on replace. And now our new collection, under $100. That's what we want to have, which happens to be all of our products. That's why I chose that, just to show you what that looks like. And there's also a view all button because we have more than 4 products in that collection. And every time we add another product, if it is under $100 to the end buyer, then it's going to automatically be placed in this collection because we used a smart collection, which does that for us. Let's save this. And before continuing any more on this design, I think you're starting to get a good idea of how this design works. We need to rename this store and actually give it a domain. Right now, it's very, very unprofessional to be called My Store, which you can see if I move my browser down a little bit, it says My Store. That's the name of our store right now. And the domain is just like a whole bunch of gibberish. If we go and view the store, if I say View Store, in a new tab, this is our domain. We definitely do not want that. We need to get a professional domain on this website. So let's do that right now, which actually, wait, look at that. There's our favicon. Look at that. It worked. It's right there. That's exactly what we wanted. But like I said, let's get this domain. So back to Shopify. If we go on the bottom, I think you can see this on the screen recording. Maybe not. Let me move this up a little bit. There we go. Settings right down here. If we click on settings, that'll bring us into a lot of settings for Shopify. We're going to spend the next, several minutes in here digging through these settings. But first, we want to get that name changed and we want to get a domain. So the name change in general settings on the right side, I'm going to blur out some details here, but you'll see it just says My Store. If we click on the pencil icon, it'll pop up with the name of our store. So we can rename this. I'm calling this Santrel Designs. Santrel Designs. We have, of course, our store email, our store phone number, and I can save right there. So now we have our store finally renamed. That's great. That's going to show up on the top of the browser whenever somebody visits our store. Scrolling down, we have some other things like the order ID. So automatically people are going to get an email telling them their order ID. This is also helpful for you, and you can choose how the order IDs are really set up. So they're going to be numbered, of course, but you could have it starting off with a little pound symbol for number, or you could have a suffix after that if you wanted to. So it could be dash store or whatever, like, I don't know, stuff like that. You could have, however, whatever makes sense to you is going to be how you can set that up. I think the numbering, just like that, looks absolutely fine. On the left side, we can go down and, of course, plan. We already selected the plan, so we're good on plan. We have our billing, so if you ever need to upgrade your credit or update your credit card information, you'll see that over here. Users and permissions, if you need to add other people to this. So if you have a team, you can have other users and choose what their permissions are. I believe you will need a higher plan to get staff accounts. I think you need to, right there. You have to upgrade beyond the basic plan. So I think many people starting off will probably just do it on their own. We have payments. We do need to accept payments, but let's kind of zoom ahead down to domains right here. Get the domain first. Then we'll go through and set up our payments. So as far as domains go, you can search other sites. If you go to Namecheap, for example, so I go to namecheap.com, we can find domains possibly for slightly less money. So let's look at Santrel Designs. I wonder if I bought that in the past for a different video. Let's search for this, see if Santrel Designs is available. SantrelDesigns.com is available, $11.28 plus probably some other fees. Let's see what it costs in Shopify. If I say buy a new domain, this is going to be SantrelDesigns.com. Obviously, it is available, so $16 per year. So you could save, I think, what's that, like $4 or $5 per year by going through Namecheap. I'm not going to do that because in the end, you are going to get more value out of Shopify. It's going to, one, be much easier to connect. Two, it already comes with things like Whois privacy, so you don't have to pay extra for that. And I think having all your billing in one location makes it easier, in my opinion, versus having multiple accounts and having to remember to, go to Namecheap and update your credit card whenever that expires. But if you want to get the domain here, you can port it over to Shopify. It's really not that difficult to do. It takes a little bit of time, but I'm going to buy it directly through Shopify. I think those extra couple dollars per year, just for me personally, it's worth it. So you'll get an email, big button on there, just click it to verify your email for this domain, and then this will turn green and your domain will be set up. But let's continue through these settings. Like I said, domain, we wanted to jump to that one. That was our priority. Now let's go back to where we were. Payments, checkout, all this stuff here. Payment processing. We will need a way to accept credit cards. So the way that print on demand works, as I mentioned earlier in the video, is that we have this storefront. We have our website right here. So somebody will visit our website. They'll add something to their cart. They'll go and make the actual purchase, which sends the money to our Shopify account. So we need a way to accept payments, and then we pay for the product from Gelato. Gelato produces the product and Gelato ships the product at their retail price or their product cost. You can see like we've been setting the entire time. So the difference is going to be the profit that we actually receive between our price and the price it actually costs Gelato to make the product for us. So that is why we need to have a payment processor set up here. We have Shopify Payments is really the main one, which is going to accept like Visa and MasterCard. And if I just click on Learn More, it'll show you a lot more about that. Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, JCB. We've got a lot of different ones, and you can do this in person. Doesn't really make sense for print on demand, but if you ever in the future are selling, like arts and crafts stuff, or if you have inventory, for example, you can sell in person with point of sale with Shopify very, very easily, actually, even using your phone. You don't even need a terminal, but that's Shopify Payments. So let's set that up. So if I just click on Activate Shopify Payments, it's going to walk us through a pretty simple process. You'll have to enter some information to verify, for tax reasons, your name, your social security number, your address, so they know, how to actually send your 1099 at the end of the year. And we can set this up as an individual. If you don't have an LLC, that's probably what you'll be doing. Of course, consult your legal advisor before, doing any kind of LLC stuff. But if you want to be set up as an LLC, that would be classified as a registered business. And there's many different types of businesses. It could also be a partnership, sole proprietor, a lot of different things. I'm going to go with individual for now. Individual. We'll say next. And now we can enter our name, birthday, email, social address, and things like that. Then you click on next. You choose your industry type. I'm going to say clothing and accessories, subcategories, maybe like men's clothing. We can choose the bank statement. So this is very, very, very important down here. You want to make sure that your store name is not something crazy that people won't recognize. You want it to be reliable. So when somebody looks at this, they'll say, oh, that's the store that I bought it from. They're not going to be disputing credit card charges or bank charges when they purchase your product and get their credit card bill at the end of the month. So you want this to be Santrel graphic designs, maybe graphic designs and apparel. We'll say that. I'm going to say next. Then we can click on confirm and submit for verification. And we can turn on two-step authentication while we're at it. This is going to make our store a lot more secure. And I generally recommend, being as secure as possible. And in order to set up two-factor authentication, I'm going to be blurring this out. But you just open up any authenticator app on your phone. So like Microsoft has one, Google has one. There's a ton of them out there. Then you tap on the scan QR code option. It'll scan it. It'll give you a 6-digit number, and you can type that in on the bottom here and say save. And just like that, the two-factor is set up. You'll then want to download your codes. You'll then want to download your recovery codes in case your phone breaks and you can't get two-factor, and then say complete. All right, payments should be set up. That'll tell us when it's approved and we'll be ready to go. So it's going to take a few more minutes to create the account. We can then set up PayPal as well, making it a little bit easier for somebody to order from us. So PayPal, again, the setup, very easy. All you do is just sign in to your PayPal account. That will be quite easy to do. The checkout settings here, not a whole lot we really need to change. You can choose the customer contact method, phone or email. Looks good to me. You can allow them to track their order. I think that's very beneficial. I'm going to leave that enabled. And we can choose what we want. So no company name for something like this. Address line 2 could be optional. Shipping address, phone number. You don't even need to include it a lot of times. So sometimes you can make it optional or required depending on your shipping service that is being used. Some marketing options. It makes sense to collect their emails. We'll talk about email marketing a little bit later. SMS is another option if you want. Please don't have a tipping option at checkout for print on demand stuff. Customers can make their own accounts, so we can have login stuff here. I'm not going to change anything there. Shipping and delivery, we don't have to worry about that. Gelato is taking care of that, and you should see shipping profiles. Gelato has 48 profiles, so they're taking care of that for us. Taxes and duties, of course, consider your local region, talk to your tax professional, and figure out what taxes you should be charging. There are some apps to help with that as well. I'm not going to dig into that too much in this video. We have locations and markets. Because we don't have a physical location, I'm not going to do anything with locations. Other than that, there's not a whole lot I need to do here except the very last thing, the policy. So I mentioned earlier we had one policy set up, I think a privacy policy that's automated. We can have some other ones, and Shopify does a really good job of kind of setting up some templates for us. So if we look at a return and refund policy, of course you want to, this is going to be your policy. You could insert a template right here, but read through it and see if that actually makes sense to you. I could say publish. We can also check out our terms of service. Again, using the template, read through this because like I said, this is your policy. You're telling people this is how you operate your business. So definitely make sure that this is all true. And if you need to change it, go ahead and change it. But this is, if you say publish, that's going to be your policy there. Contact information, of course, is down there if you want people to be able to email you and ask questions or stuff like that. And that's about it for these advanced settings. Let's click on the little X on the top right. All right, so the store is really just about ready now. I think what we want to do now is probably to check out what the store looks like. So if you are on your Shopify dashboard, you can go down to Online Store, hover over that, and you'll see View Your Online Store. In a new tab, it'll go to your domain. Make sure that is your domain. Looks good. You can see the whole website is interactive right now. We can click on things. So we can make it like the dark chocolate sweatshirt in size large. We can, and like maybe that looks good to you. Actually kind of does look pretty good. I like that. And then we can add it to our cart. You'll see it's in the cart on the right side. Let's close out of that. Let's see if we can shop around a little more. Maybe we want to buy, let's say view all, see what other products we have. So under $100. By the way, I would like to edit this page and make this a white background so we don't have this really ugly kind of white block for each one. Maybe we want to buy this one as well. Let's check out the page for this one. The image loads. We have a second image if you want to see the right side. I don't know why I even added that one, but it's there. We've got our size guide, and I can add, let's add this one to the cart as well. Let's make this one a large. We're going to add one quantity of one, add to cart. Actually, let me check out the sand one now. Sand might blend in a lot with this background. Actually, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that sand one. I'm going to add that to the cart as well. Add to the cart and kind of just, let's check out this user experience, Let's play around with it a little bit. Now we can go over to, on the top right, if we click on the shopping cart, we can say checkout. The total is $82. And from here, okay, checkout experience looks pretty good right now. As a customer, we can enter our contact information. We could just pay really quickly with Google Pay or, PayPal or Shop Pay if we have those set up. Credit card information, we can have make your own account down here, shop account. That's kind of cool. And on the right side, you'll see what you're actually getting. So I think it's time we make a sample order and see how this is actually set up. Oh, there is one thing I forgot to mention here. One thing that I would like to add, which is over in the Shopify settings. I think it's really beneficial to have some type of coupon. So we added one at the top. And remember the banner? Let's go back to our banner here. It says free shipping with code ship to me, right? But we never actually configured that. So before I place this order, because I would kind of like to set up for myself a little discount that, I'm paying myself anyway, but let's make sure this is actually set up properly. So over here, we can go, again, in the Shopify dashboard, go down to discounts. And then within discounts, Shopify has a number of options, very well set up, I might add. So we have the amount off the products. You can have buy one, get one. You could have an amount off the total order, or you could just have free shipping if you want a shipping discount on here. And of course, that doesn't make the shipping genuinely free. Like you're the one, as the shop owner who has to eat that cost. But let's just say shipping discount. We're going to add a shipping discount, and this is going to be ship to me. That's going to be our discount code. This is valid in maybe just select countries. So maybe just United States, say add, and we could exclude you can exclude shipping rates over a certain amount. So if it is more than $20, I don't want that to be free shipping. So if somebody's ordering something gigantic or, like the wall art, for example, might be more expensive. Let's actually make this more like $10. So that would be separate. Then down here, we could have a minimum. So maybe if they have to spend at least $10 or order at least 2 items for that to apply. And this could be, all customers, no limit on how much they can use it. You might want to limit the total discount if you're doing a sponsorship of somebody and say hey, use code Mike and the first, 500 customers get, $50 off or something like that. Just kind of an option you have available. You could combine this works. You can have it with product discounts as well or order discounts, or maybe it doesn't combine with any of those. You can also have a start and an end date, and I'm going to save this discount. There we go. And then we have the discount set up. I'm just going to copy this so I can use this over on my checkout. So let's go back to our checkout, here. Click on the little checkout button. Quantities look good. I'm going to click on checkout, and within checkout, discount code now shows up on the right. I can paste my discount code. We can say apply, and it'll give us the shipping discount at obviously when we enter our shipping address. So let me enter that detail right now. All right, so now we have the shipping price here. I'm going to enter the shipping discount, click on apply, and now the shipping is free. So that coupon worked perfectly. That's exactly what we wanted. And keep in mind, because I'm placing a sample order here, I'm obviously paying myself. There's profit that's going to come back to me, but that is going to be kind of there's going to be a credit card charge on that profit. So it may make sense to make another special discount code for you that just brings these down to exactly cost. And that way, you're not losing any money. But I kind of think it still makes sense to get the learning experience of seeing where the money goes, how you can withdraw the money from your Shopify balance, different things like that. So for $60, I'm getting these two products. I'm going to go ahead and place this order. I think there's a lot of benefits to placing orders on your own products. One is that you can actually see the quality, and when you get it, you're like, hey, maybe this is really bad, and I put my design in the wrong place. Something's not quite right, and it's going to cause a lot of returns. So you finding that early on can save you a lot of headaches and ultimately a lot of money as well. And secondly, it's really advantageous for marketing materials. Sure, the mockups are great that are available, and you can find other places to make mockups. I'll talk about that in a minute, but having pictures on actual people is always going to be better than having mockups, especially if you're able to get good quality photos. And of course, thirdly, it kind of shows you, that the whole process works. You can make sure that the checkout's not broken. People aren't ending up on your site but unable to purchase for some reason. You get the full experience as a buyer by making a sample order. Oh, and lastly, you can figure out, what the packaging actually looks like when it arrives and how long it actually takes to arrive. So all of that is going to be very, very, very important knowledge to have. So that's why I recommend ordering at least one sample of your own product. Oh, and by the way, don't forget your first order with Gelato will be 50% off as long as you went through that link in the beginning. So it's not going to be 50% off my retail price, but the cost to me in Gelato, which remember this might have been $15, and this one might have been $17 or $19. That's going to be half. So that's cut in half, which again saves us some money when we're actually placing an order. And keep that in mind in case you're going to place 5 smaller orders. Maybe you just want to place one larger order and get that 50% discount all at once. Look at that page right there. Confirmation page looks really good. Total savings, so make them feel a little better about the order. You got the confirmation number on the top. We have the ability to track the package. We have, of course, down here, the 2 items you ordered, the payment method, the delivery details, the coupon you used, and you can, of course, just click the big blue button, continue shopping. It'll bring you right back to that homepage. I think that whole experience is just really incredible considering how relatively little work we did designing this website. So I'm always very, very happy with that. Now, let's go back to Gelato. If we refresh this page, our order should be showing up here. And as you can see, we have 2 orders, order ID 1 out of 2 and 2 out of 2 on that one order because we have 2 different products here. The first one, fulfillment, was passed. It says it was paid. The second one is uploading fulfillment, and that was also paid. So that's really nice, which you can see the totals right there. And by the way, if I click into any one of these, so let's say the first one right here, let's click into this one. It'll show us some more details about this order. So it'll show us the product right there. It says it's passed. It says $19.29. But if we scroll down, there's that discount I talked about, just confirming that it did get applied. So we saved $10 on this and maybe $5 or $6 on the other one as well. We do have a shipping cost here. Obviously, it was free shipping on the website, but actually the shipping, like I said, is getting eaten there by the seller, which is us. So we are paying that shipping fee there. But again, the total cost to us for these 2 orders, discounted as they were, is going to be, what's it going to be, $23.96, I think is the total between those 2, which is, much less than the $60 we actually just paid ourselves. So the remaining balance is going to show up in our Shopify balance. But click on orders again, you'll see there's nothing we have to do. These orders are automatically being fulfilled. It'll give us a status of them right now. We can track them, see how the production's going, when they're being shipped. And of course, keep an eye on your email to make sure that the orders, you'll be tracking that progress yourself to make sure that, the print went through, everything was good, no issues with that. Sometimes with embroidering, that's the one that you really want to keep tabs on in case you accidentally made a design that can't be embroidered. Very rare that happens, but something that you want to be mindful of anyway. The prints, super easy. These are almost always passed. As you can see, these are going to ship no problem. But going back to Shopify, if I just go back to Shopify's dashboard, I refresh this, you'll see total sales should be changing. So you can see total sales. This will be updating soon. It takes a little while for this to update. There's one live visitor, which is unfortunately just me. But it's nice that it tells you how many people are on your website at any given time. The next payout right there, if we click on that, that is how much money is in our Shopify balance. So that'll be paid out to us. We will have to set up, so let's say view transactions. We have one that's pending. Like I said, there's going to be $2.41. That's like your 30 cents plus 2.9%, I believe, that's being applied to that. So that's why if you wanted to discount yourself for the first order, it would make sense. You're going to save a couple dollars right here. But, all things considered, we now have $57.92 that will be paid out to us. Of course, we are paying Gelato using the credit card on file. Like I said, about $25-ish. And that leaves us with the gap there, which is going to be our profit. So it's important to have, I think, a credit card or at least a bank with sufficient funds in there, just in case you get a lot of orders set up on Shopify. Like if you get a lot of orders flowing in, then you're going to be paying a lot of money to Gelato, and there may be some gap between when this money comes to you and how soon you have to pay out the orders. So just be mindful of that. A business credit card might be a good idea, or a business bank account that's well funded might be another good idea, just in case there might be some gap between, like, maybe this payment you're not able to get it for several days or 30 days or something like that. Now on our store, if we want to order something but we don't want to spend those credit card fees, just showing you how you could do that. So maybe the Iceland poster we talked about before, if I click on this, $32.30. Let's say let's go back to Shopify and let's create a new discount. This discount, we're going to say it's going to be, amount off products. And we could make this a discount code of save 100, specific products, browse, and we want to add this to, say, Iceland poster right there. We can apply this only for specific customers, so maybe just myself. I already ordered before, so I'm going to make it just available to me so that if I forget to remove this, you guys can't go on and get some free posters out of me. So fortunately, we're doing that right there. And we could limit the total number of times this will happen. So just one time ever. And I could save the discount. There we go. So now over on the store, because we're on the store right here, I can add this to the cart. I can remove the mug from the cart. We're just going to go through with this. I'm going to say checkout. Discount code, I'm going to paste that in and apply it. There we go. Subtotal, total is $0. And so this way, I'm not paying myself through Shopify and paying that 2.9% fee. Instead, it's going to be $0 on this transaction, and you'll see it's only showing up on Gelato. So just another way you could order your samples without, paying that fee that we talked about earlier. Say pay now, it's placing the order. Oh, and it did charge me $4.92 for shipping. I forgot to make a code to make free shipping as well on this one, or I forgot to enter that code. So whatever, we paid $4.92. That's fine. But if I go back to Gelato, we can go to orders, and you could just place orders directly through Gelato, but I still think it's really valuable to place it through your store, even if that requires you to set up those discount codes. So now if we scroll down here, you'll see it created that order. Right now it's pending, and that will eventually go through. And you'll also see the order ID properly counted. So 2 items in the first order. This one, just 1002, is the new order there. And we'll see when this arrives and what the quality is. So this is all great. We have our first order placed here, but we're certainly not done yet. Even though we have a functional store, there's a lot that we need to do to actually get some sales. So there's a couple things I want to do as general housekeeping items since I'm on these pages right now. One is going to be just showing you Gelato. So moving forward, right? We talked about everything up here. This is how you make your first product, right? Product catalog, orders, and stores. Down here, of course, we talked about Personalization Studio as well. But then down here, the other options we have, branded packaging. If we go to configure, this will allow you to add either an insert or a branded label on your package. So eventually, or even right away, if you think this is very important to your specific brand, you can do this. I think the package insert probably provides more value for retargeting customers. In essence, you can put in like 30% off in there. So when they get the product, they get this little card out. They're like, oh, sweet, now I have a discount. They might go back and order another product from you without you ever having to send an email or any type of retargeting marketing their way. Additionally, branded labels makes your brand look significantly more professional. And this is all stuff that I think really provides a lot of value. It's something that also is a little bit cheaper if you upgrade to Gelato Gold, if you decide to do that. There's a couple, well, here, let me just show you. There's Gelato Plus and Gelato Gold. If you look up here, or actually, let me go over here and say subscriptions. This kind of explains them a little bit better. So $129 per month, definitely much more expensive. Once you have a larger business, it makes more sense, and you should be saving some money on the actual products you're buying then directly through Gelato. And then Gelato Plus also offers some other benefits as well. If we say learn more, they have a comparison down here, and we can kind of indicate how many monthly orders we get. So if we get like 100 a month, they'll tell us which one they recommend. If we get like 5 a month, the free one's good. So it kind of like, as you grow, it starts to become more worth it to get the more expensive ones, because you'll be saving like, 20 to 25% off products. And maybe there's a time, hopefully there is. I mean, I'm pretty confident that if you do everything right, you can, build a successful business and get to the point where $129 per month is totally worth it to save 25% off on some products. But aside from those subscriptions, getting back to where we were, going down the left side, branded packaging, like I said, very powerful to set that up. Analytics will tell us a little bit more about the order side of things. So we have analytics both on Shopify and on Gelato. Here it's going to tell us the total cost, how much we've actually paid out for products, the production countries, total products sold, and obviously the orders. We'll have graphs down here. And as you start to really build out your store and get more traffic, you'll see a lot more down here. But at least right now, we are seeing some data there. So down here we have Mockup Studio, so that's part of Gelato Plus as well. But really talking about mockups, I mentioned before that buying the product and taking your own pictures is definitely the best way to do it. It will look the most realistic. You'll actually have, the quality of the print. You'll have the quality of the material all reflected in the image. But if you really wanted to get some more mockups before ordering anything, or if you just want to test out a lot of products without ever ordering any of them, then you could use a lot of different mockup tools. But one that is very common is called Placeit.net. And if you look at, and from here, you can just kind of choose, whatever images you like. So maybe like if you're selling a tote, this might be a good one. And you could just add your image right there. So you'll just be uploading your design. And I'll show you how to do that right now. If I just upload from my device, let's go with, I don't know, maybe like the space guy. We'll crop it like that. And there we go. So it puts it on. Actually looks, very convincing. So these mockups could be a great way to kind of start getting some images on your website, or at least on some marketing materials. If you're looking for, something to put on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, this is something that is very possible. So Placeit.net has a lot on here. If you don't already see good mockups that you want from Gelato, just an option to be aware of there. Now, before we get into marketing, which is a huge portion of this, and obviously the mockups are going to be important in that, I want to kind of tie up some loose ends on Shopify. I know I mentioned that I was going to give you a little rundown of the Shopify interface, so I'm going to do that right now, just so you have a better idea of where things are. So, of course, the home tab, this is going to change a little bit over time. Like the setup guide is there right now. We'll see some analytics up here from store visits. We have our orders down here. You don't really need to look at orders on Shopify though. Like I showed you, Gelato is going to have a lot more insights into that. Your products, if you ever need to change anything about your products, you'll see all of those are right here, as well as on Gelato, of course. I would recommend, again, editing most of it over on Gelato, but if you need to edit things here like this, you can just click on it and you could change the name of this, or what images you have available directly on here if you really wanted to. Like I said, it's usually better to go from the source and edit that over in Gelato. We also have customers down here, so as people order things, their names will pop up. So if anybody's contacting you as customer service and they're talking about an order, you can find their order right here. As far as finance goes, this is where you can find your Shopify balance. You're able to withdraw. So you can either get a physical balance card that can be used like a debit card to, purchase things using your Shopify balance. Is really what they want you to do. Obviously, that's not always going to be what you're doing. So the other option is to dismiss this and just withdraw the budget. So you can say move money right there and transfer funds over to your bank account. Once you connect your bank account, you say add payee or bank account, and then you can send the funds manually over to your bank account, your own personal bank account, which is really quite convenient. Down here we have analytics, and again, this is showing you quite a bit, not only sales, but also online store sessions, total orders. We can see a lot of things on here, what type of device people were visiting from, and we can go down to marketing. And that kind of brings me into the next segment of this video. Yes, we have some marketing stuff right here. We have some discount stuff right here, but really there are two main routes and kind of a matrix made out of these two routes for marketing. One is going to be organic, and the other one is going to be amplified marketing. So let's revisit this little slide I have right here. So let's revisit our little slideshow back here. And this kind of outlines my thoughts on marketing. So organic and amplified, two main routes. And within each one, there are a lot of different ways to focus on your marketing. One, of course, is going to be search engine optimization, also known as SEO. In other words, trying to get your website to rank on Google, to rank in search. And this is going to be very dependent on what kind of product you're actually making and selling. So if you are selling something that, for example, you're donating, $5 to help some foundation somewhere, then maybe you want to have some blog articles about that so you can start ranking on Google when people are looking for that. Or maybe you're selling some great white elephant gift ideas. Maybe you want to have like top 20 white elephant gift ideas, and within that blog, maybe you want to have a couple of your own products listed in there. So that way, again, you're ranking in search, people are finding it, and they're going to go to your website and potentially become customers. So ranking in Google is incredibly powerful because, one, it's organic, meaning it costs you nothing to do. This is only going to be based on your time and on Shopify. So if we go back to the Shopify editor right here, all you have to do is, you can see we have all these different pages here. You can create new pages. As you can see, we can create new pages that are like about us, our mission, different things like that we can add more information and start ranking on Google with that. Or we can actually have some blogs and some blog posts. So if we go back to our Shopify dashboard and click on online store, you'll see blog posts. It's its own section right here. It's also within content, and you can create a new blog post. And the editor here is going to be fairly rudimentary, so very, very easy to use. You're just going to have a lot of text here. You could even use AI to start generating some of these. As long as you're using the right AI, this could potentially rank on search as well. And you want to have a good title, keyword, load it up with keywords, and ultimately aim to rank on Google. That's a topic for another video. Honestly, there's a lot to talk about with SEO, but getting started, it's not a bad idea to at least make a couple articles that might drive traffic to your website. Moving on to the next one, email and retargeting. So anybody who purchases anything from you, you already have their email. That's how they get information about their order. We can then retarget them. We can give them discounts. We can ultimately tell them about new products that come out, which is a win-win, right? The end customer is going to find out about new products you're selling. They might be interested. They're going to save money, and they might become another customer, which also helps you because this is, again, not going to cost you on a per customer basis. You have to pay maybe one time per month for a subscription to an email marketing platform, but this is ultimately not going to cost you nearly as much as running ads, and these are already warm leads. So what we recommend for that, there are a number of software tools out there. The one that we use, I'll have as link number 3 in the description down below. This is Omnisend. You can also go to santrelmedia.com/Omnisend, and you can see right here, right now, this number changes from time to time, by the way, but right now, $68 for every $1 you spend is the average ROI for having this. Of course, if you go through our link, you can also get 30% off for the first 3 months using code Santrel30. So I'm just going to say start now. This also links up with Shopify, and it can create discount codes automatically for us using some very, very powerful automation. So I'm going to say sign up with Shopify. And I think, just watch this for the next couple of minutes. I think you'll see what I'm talking about. You create some very powerful tools that save you a ton of time. Like when I was first getting started off with any type of e-commerce websites in the past, I'd use like MailChimp and manually build things. It was so much more tedious than it is now. I'm going to click on install right there. And here I'm going to click install again. There's really 4 main automations you set up as soon as you get Omnisend configured, but you can make a lot of other ones as well. So I'm going to enter, we have my email, my name. I'm going to enter a password and then click get started. And again, you have to check your email to verify your account. We can say we found out from YouTube, continue to Omnisend. And okay, so here's the first benefit. It is pulling our design and our color scheme directly from our website. The accent color, I'm going to change this one. I would rather have it a little more of a lighter blue, kind of, or even just a dark blue is fine as well. Let's go with that blue right there. So you can see our logo on the top. This is a heading. It's copying a lot from our site as well as our social links. It pulled that off our website as well. And once we have other socials, we can add that here and on our website. I'm going to say save brand assets. And now we have our, they prompt us to basically do everything for us. Okay, so they want us to pick a plan right away. Before we do that, I want to show you what Omnisend is so you're not just spending money on something you don't know. That's generally a bad idea. So what is Omnisend, right? Omnisend is one of the email platforms out there, one that we like and we do recommend because it has a lot of these automations. So if I go to automation, we can preview and start some workflows. They have one that just doing by default right here. They're going to build immediately for us, and that is the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout workflow. So if somebody adds something to their cart and then for whatever reason their laptop dies, somebody knocks on their door, whatever, they don't end up making the purchase. We can then, wait an hour and then send them an email and say, hey, you had something in your cart, maybe you forgot about it. Then you wait another half a day and say, like, hey, something happened, here it is. And if they don't reply, then the next day you send them a discount. Hey, maybe 10% off, just to kind of nudge them over. Like, they're already a very, very warm lead. It was in the cart. They were thinking about buying this, and for some reason they didn't. So this is a great way to, finalize those conversions and hopefully, have a good ROI on this. So just by clicking that, it already made the workflow for you. That automation is done. It's running. It's up and running right now. So I can say, show my workflows, and we have those two already going. Like, they're already working. That's great. Other than that, if we look at automations, we can say create workflow, and they have a ton on the left side here. So we can have some that are, if your goal is to recover visitors, maybe to cross-sell things, to build loyalty. So let's just check out like cross-sells, for example. They have an A/B test or just a regular cross-sell. I didn't actually mean to click on that. We also have, of course, like a birthday email for somebody if you have their birthday saved somewhere. Review requests is a great way to build up brand reputation. Order confirmation, we already kind of have that set up, so we don't really need that. But you could customize it a little bit more here. Back in stock, so if anything's back ordered or out of stock, you can notify people about that. Just a lot of different automations that you can set up and send out as an email, or you can send out individual campaigns as well. Over here, campaigns would be like a one-time email. Maybe you launch a new collection. You want to tell everybody who's ever been a subscriber, or specific lists within your subscriber audience, and just tell them like, hey, we launched a new product. This is an exciting new thing. Maybe you're interested in that. And especially with print on demand, when you're launching new stuff very frequently and testing a lot of things, this could be a really powerful tool to be sending this out to other people. We also have forms so people can sign up. This could either be a pop-up on your website, or it could be, embedded in your site somewhere, just so people are able to sign up. Even if they, like maybe they view your website and they're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to order, but you give them like 10% off if they sign up. They give you their email, and then you're just able to send them some marketing material to, again, close on that sale. So with that in mind, let's go back to the dashboard and we can upgrade here. So viewing the plans, this is something that, again, you can choose either just email or email plus SMS. It does scale with you as well. And we can remember the discount code down here. Don't forget to type in Santrel 30, Santrel 30, redeem the code. So there we go. And you'll be getting 30% off your first 3 months. Choose that plan and continue to billing information. So $33, and you're getting 3 months of this software. Again, if you want to, it's not entirely necessary for your business, but hopefully could have some pretty good ROI as you start to get more customers and hopefully have them become returning customers. So I added my card, I'm just going to complete the purchase, and now we have Omnisend set up for our online store. There we go. Now it says we're upgraded the standard plan. I'm going to say continue. We can create our first form. I'll say create form. This is going to be a pop-up, just shows up on our website. We can choose like if it's only going to be during a certain window, like sometimes, not always on. So for the frequency, we can say, hey, maybe we want to limit this after, let's say maybe like, 10 minutes, after 10 minutes on the site. So we can go back. The targeting, we could also have this set up. You can have this show up only on out of stock products. So you can say like, hey, notify me when it comes back in stock. And we can customize what this is actually saying simply by dragging and dropping things over here. So maybe we have another input down here that's going to be first name, or whatever you want. It could be like your address or your last name or something like that. So you can have this kind of set up for, let's add name on there as well. Let's say, and also legal consent. I want to add that on there, of course. We can add last name, or just say name. Yeah, first name's fine. Just need first names. And we can enable the form. So this is going to pop up on our website if we wanted to. And we can set up the welcome workflow as well. So when somebody first signs up for an email, we'll then send them like, hey, here's your 10% discount as we promised. And that way, when they sign up they subscribe, they'll immediately get this email, and we can show my workflows. You'll see we now have that configured. Of course, on Omnisend, like I said, we have your dashboard over here. They give you a little rundown of like some things. There's 4 main campaigns you could set up or automations. Campaigns are going to be the one-time email. Automations, I highly recommend you browse through these, find some other automations. These are incredibly powerful. The forms, this is what we just set up. It's set up as a pop-up right now. If you ever decided you didn't want this, you could always select it and delete it, or you can go in there and, as I showed you before, change these settings to make sure it either is or is not showing at any given time. Then we have audience. This will show you all of your email subscribers. We have reports, again, giving you some analytics into how things are working. Right now, it's actually ported over from our store. So we have a lot of information about revenue, which is very beneficial here. And we can see reviews over on the right side. So that is kind of a quick summary of Omnisend, one of the marketing tools that we like to recommend for any kind of really e-commerce site, but especially for print on demand. Going back to that little slideshow here, we then have the third form of organic marketing, which is going to be social media. And within here, we have, of course, our Facebook business page. We have an Instagram business page, and you could have some others as well. But Facebook business page is going to be important, even if you're like, all right, well, who's going to find a Facebook business page organically and then go and order? Well, it's not really about that. It's more so if you end up running any kind of ads on Meta, Facebook ads or Instagram ads, it's very important to have a Facebook business page to connect all of that to, so it's not being run as your personal account. So let's actually get into doing that right now. If we go over to Facebook, all right, so the next step is going to be the amplified marketing, of course, and a little bit more social media marketing. And in order to set up, like I said, the Facebook ads and the Instagram ads, it's important to have a Facebook business page, at least so it's all connected, not to your personal account. So let's do that next. I'm going to spend a couple minutes doing this. I have a full tutorial if you want more help setting up your Facebook business page, but let's just go through that really quickly on Facebook right here, assuming you already have a personal account. If not, I recommend making one, but you have to start from your personal account. We will then separate this and connect it to a business suite as well, but starting off from a personal account, from the top, you'll click on the little menu button with the 9 dots there, a little array, and then you'll see create, and then down here, you should see page. So if we click on create page, we can add the name. So our name, let's call it Santrel Designs. The category, we are going to be apparel and clothing, and you can add a bio if you would like. So I have a little bio, it'll say create page, and then we can enter our logo. We can add just an image here and the background. So let's give it 1 second to create the page, and you'll see it kind of populates it all on the right side. Very easy to do this. This has really changed a lot over the years. We can add our website. So in a new tab, we can find our website. So there's our site. I'm going to copy the link, paste it right here. We can add a phone number, an email. Now, if you don't already have an email, I recommend either setting up a Gmail to start, maybe santreldesigns@gmail.com or something like that. Or if you wanted to be more professional, you could get a Google Workspace account. I don't think this is really necessary early on. Eventually, once you have more customers and you want a more professional customer service email, you can do that. You can go to Google Workspace. And Google Workspace allows you to connect your domain. So you just, copy paste a couple things to connect your domain to the email. So that way you could be like mike@santreldesigns.com or customer service@santreldesigns.com. And that will ultimately make you seem much more professional when you're working with any potential clients, like suppliers, for example, if you're ever switching around with that, or if you're working with customers, obviously the customer service, like I said, different situations. It's really professional, in my opinion, to have that email. But just to get started off, if you're really bootstrapping this business, just make a Gmail, santreldesigns@gmail.com. That'll work just fine for the first several months, if not even the first year, until you really start to get this off the ground. So I'm just going to enter my email right now. We can add our address, and we can say no hours available. Now we can say next, and it shows us in the bottom so far. Page health, we're getting there. It's fair. Doesn't have everything. For the profile picture, I'm going to go with the circular logo here. That'll fit in there a little bit better. It should be cropped into a circle. That looks perfect. And then our cover photo, we can really choose anyone we want. I kind of am partial to this truck design. I think that looks really good. But obviously, you can show all of your different apparel there. You could have some mock-ups. You could do whatever you want. Because I don't have those mock-ups saved, I'm just going to roll with this for now, just as a cover photo. It doesn't really matter that much, and we can always change this later on. Let's kind of reposition it right there. So the action button is a great tool, but we're probably not going to add that in this video right now because you can do view shop as you see right here, but we will have to connect to shop on Facebook. We don't have that set up just yet, but we will set up, in the future, and we can have that action button configured later. Then you can connect to WhatsApp if you want. You can invite friends. We can have notifications for our page. I'm going to disable that right now, and then we can say done. And there we go. Now we have a Facebook business page. There's more that we can do here as well. There's really only a couple things I recommend doing right away before getting into creating some ads. You'll see advertise is going to be an easy way to get to that. Professional dashboard shows us a lot of analytics about this, but we do have to change some pretty important settings on here. So on the left, if I click on settings, that'll bring us into our page settings here. We can go down to page details. And you can populate all of these, including your contact, your about information, privacy. If you have a privacy policy, which we do, we can add the link right here. And again, the privacy policy is over on our website. But now we have a Facebook business page. I think we're probably ready to move on to the next step, which is an Instagram business account. So Instagram, super easy. You just make any Instagram account like you probably already have on your phone. So I'll just show you how to do that right now. If you go to Instagram, okay, so to do this, you just open up Instagram. Let's look for our username. Let's say Santrel Designs. Santrel Designs. We'll say next. Hopefully that's available. Looks like that is. We can create a password now. Say next, and we can complete sign up. Now we can say next again. We don't need to allow that. We can choose our profile photo. So I'm going to add a picture, and we could either share that as a post or not. I'm going to say next, and that'll bring us into finding new people. I'm going to say skip. We can say next again for notifications. I'm going to leave that disabled. We can actually skip that. And now we can skip this as well. So that brings us into our Instagram account. From here, if you tap on the bottom right, you tap on your little logo there. You can tap on the hamburger icon on the top right, and we can convert this over to a professional Instagram account and connect it to our Facebook account. So that's really important if you're running ads on Meta, on anything really. So Instagram ads, you want this to be connected. So if we scroll down, you'll get to account types and tools. So from here, we can switch to a professional account. We'll say next. We can choose our category here. So I'm going to say clothing brand. We can display that on our profile as well. And we'll say switch to a professional account. Now, depending on which one you choose, it's going to either make you essentially a creator or a professional. Right here, it's going to ask, are we a business or a creator? We are a business, so I'm going to leave it on that. It doesn't really change a whole lot. You're still getting analytics. You're still getting the ability to run ads. You're still getting all this usual stuff, but it's just slightly more catered towards the use that we are actually going to have. Then we can enter our business email address, our phone number, our business address, and if you want to have Instagram audio calling, for example, and we can display or not display our contact information. Then we can connect it to Facebook. So I'm going to log into Facebook here. This way we're able to connect this to our Facebook business page that we just made. We'll say continue. And we can scroll down and see Santrel Designs right there. That's the Facebook business page I just made. So I'll say connect, and it's going to connect to that page. That way they're linked up. They're the same thing essentially. Instagram and Facebook, it knows that they work together, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you to manage your messages as well as your posts. If you post on one, you can automatically post on the other, and you can have ads set up to connect to both of them at the same time. So let's say connect. Then we can tap on back, and our profile is essentially set up here. There's some other things. You can go and create your first post. You can get verified if you want to spend a couple dollars a month. I don't really think that's necessary for this. We can, add some other things on here. I'm going to close out of that. But in essence, that is how you make an Instagram business page. I'll stop that recording. And now we have that set up. So now we're ready for the next step, getting into those amplified ads on TikTok ads, on Snapchat ads, and on Meta or Facebook ads in general. So back on our laptop here in a new tab, we can go to business.facebook.com, and it knows that we were working on that page over here. So it'll show us, you can see Instagram and Facebook, they're both connected. That's great. So we have that. We can click on create ad right here. So click on create ad. It's confirming that these are both connected, the admin for both of them. You can access it from either one. We'll say done. We can say confirm, and we can say continue. All right, so we can save our login for Instagram. It just wanted to verify the connection from the laptop side here. I think we can close out of this now. So we can close out of that. So now we have our Meta Business Suite set up as well. Now we can go back to Shopify. So if we go to our Shopify tab here, we can go down to apps. So we can go back to apps down here, click on apps, and here we can search for Facebook, maybe they call it Meta. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram, they call it the same thing there. And we click on that, we can install that. So we'll just click on install. We'll click on install again when that pops up over here. And I recommend pinning it down here. The app, sometimes it's harder to find them again. Shopify, it's like the one little quirk. I just find that pinning it makes it always visible whenever you go back in the future and you want to go, manage that from here. So we've got some things that pop up. We want to connect our account so we can sign in here. So now that we're signed in, you can see it's signed in your Facebook account on the top right. We can say get started, and we're just going to click through a lot of this. We'll say next. Our Facebook account is connected. We'll choose which business assets we want. I have like a ton of them here, but right there, this is the combo we want. I'm going to say connect. That is going to be our Facebook page and our Instagram page. Like I said, they're bundled together. It makes it way easier. We can choose how much we're going to be tracking. What this is called essentially a meta pixel. So there's a little piece of code in your website that tracks what people do as they click around your site. So if they go and add something to the cart, if they browse different pages, this is tracking that. And then it'll let you know like how effective the ad is, right? So if somebody clicks on the ad, they go over there and they make a purchase, this is the feedback that says, hey, that ad, like whatever you are advertising to the audience that you found, that's good. So you want that feedback to make the ads more effective at targeting the right people. So you're not wasting money on people that aren't interested in your product. And ultimately, you have the highest converting ad possible. So let's say save. Now we have to create a meta pixel. I'll say create new. It will be created after submission. And then down here, create an ad account. We'll say create new as well. And we can confirm. And then down here, we just have our store details. I'll say save. And then we can agree to the terms and conditions and submit for review. So this is going to take a little bit of time to review. Once we're good, we will be able to run ads and have everything connected. So your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and of course, your Shopify store, and the ads will be able to, I'll show you how to make the ads in just a second. So once this is approved, we'll be ready to go down the rabbit hole of making our ads. And no matter how you're advertising, Facebook/Meta ads, Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, and TikTok ads, you're going to have to make an ad, typically a vertical ad. And that brings us into the different ways you could do that. So one is going to be the lowest overhead cost, but probably the highest barrier to making a good ad is just doing it yourself. So if you get the products, you're able to film them, take photos, make a carousel or whatever. But the difficulty here is that many of us are not natural ad makers. Like if you don't have experience in it, this could be very difficult to make a good one that's actually high converting. I do have a video that kind of creates a good structure for how to do that. I'll link that down below, or I think I could put a card like right up here for that video. But in essence, there's a script in that video, and I kind of talk about how to make a good ad. However, that's great as an exercise just to practice, so in the future you can make your own ads, but it's maybe not the best way to get a high converting ad early on in your career here. There are several other ways to do it. The second way is to hire somebody else using a UGC platform, user generated content. These are people that their whole job is just to make videos that are ads for brands, for anybody like yourself, for example. And the price varies on these. Sometimes you might pay like $40 or $100 for an ad. It really depends on who's making it, what the ad is, and of course how much your product costs. So I'll have some links down below to some of those platforms you can use as well. A third option, which is kind of a nice compromise where you have a lot of control, you can really iterate quickly rather than having other people make it. And it's getting substantially better. By the time you're watching this video, it's probably going to be even better than it is right now. And these are AI generated ads. And this is such a fast moving space that, like I said, you can already get some really good ones using a platform that I've been using in the past called Arc Ads. So if we go to Arc Ads, and again, I can link these all down below. Google always tries to correct you to arcades, but Arc Ads, right here, arcads.ai. And what this does is really, really cool. This allows you to, put in your own script, and it does an AI voiceover using somebody's actual voice and an actual video from an actor. So they're like walking down the street and it just changes their mouth and uses their voice. So it still looks and feels natural, much better than like an AI avatar or just an AI voiceover of screen recordings, for example. This looks much more realistic. And like I said, it's moving so quickly. So if we scroll down, you can check out, I think they should have a library somewhere, or we could just say, log in and sign up, and I'll show you in a second. You can just view them on my computer here. Let's see, here we go. So we're on my account. Let's go back to where we were. This was like a demo I made before. We can have another product on here, but I'll just show you these. Let's actually say we're gonna make a new ad, select actors. There we go. So you can go through and see what these actors are. So there's pro versions, and you can see it's like actually somebody talking, but it's remapping their mouth to have your own text in there. I think this is really impressive so far. And like I said, this is improving by the week There are also other platforms out there. I have no real affiliation with ArcAds. We'll put a link down below. I don't think we have an affiliate link with them. If I find one, maybe I'll swap it out in the future. But just one of the cool platforms you can test out, at least buy a couple credits and start this. But really what I've been doing whenever you use something like ArcAds, it is an AI generated video. So if you let it play for too long, it starts to people are very good at detecting AI, or at least right now. So this is great where you can kind of have like multiple different AI actors or just one AI actor and kind of split it up with some B-roll and kind of keep it a fast-paced vertical video. So it's much more really basically undetectable that it is AI. And I talked about that in my full TikTok ads tutorial. Like I said, I'll have that linked down below. But once you have one made, so you have your script, you either film it yourself, you have UGC, or you have AI make it, or actually the fourth option that I'll talk about in a second, you can then take these videos. So you have the video as a vertical video. You can go back to Facebook ads, or really you go to adsmanager.facebook.com. I already have an ads account. In the beginning, it'll give you a little pop-up. It'll prompt you to make an ad account. It'll prompt you to connect that to the Facebook business page, which of course is all tied in with your Facebook pixel, your meta pixel, and of course your store. And then once you have that, you can click on create and it'll walk you through this process. So there are 3 levels to an ad. This is the same thing we'll see over on TikTok ads in a second. So it's kind of nice that you have those parallels there. The first level is going to be your campaign. Then you have your ad sets, and then you have your ads. You can kind of think of this as a pyramid where the ads, you have a lot of different ads on the bottom. You have one campaign on the top, and your ad sets kind of group everything as a hierarchy. So one campaign will have multiple ad sets, and the campaign, you really want to have like one product is just one campaign. The ad sets will be like different audiences typically that you might want to target, and then individual ads would be, maybe the AI generated ones, maybe some that you filmed yourself, you're just testing out to see how that works, maybe some that are just voiceovers with just B-roll of your products or just mock-ups in a slideshow or a carousel or something like that. Different ads that you'll make individually, or even just different copy, different call to action. You can make so many different ads, and that's really the name of the game with running ads, is iterating and testing and seeing which ones work and find iterative improvements on each one until you find a high performing ad. So we're going to be optimizing for sales. I'll say continue. I like a manual sales campaign. You could do Advantage Plus if you want, and that's true for a lot of different things. Facebook has their AI that tries to do a lot for you, and in the beginning, I think it's better just to do it manually and learn the process. But if you're crunched on time and if you just really want to hand everything over to the AI that Facebook has, you could try that, and maybe that'll perform well enough for you. Now the sales, the campaign, I'm going to call this one Deadlift T-shirt campaign 1. I'm going to say next. The conversion location is on our website. And our goal here, you can look at all the other goals that are available. Maximize value of conversions, maximize number of conversions. That's very interesting. So one of them might be trying to target people who are purchasing more than one product. And the other one might just say, get as many purchases as possible. So that's a really interesting distinction that you should probably play around with in the future with other campaigns and kind of A/B test that, see which one works the best for you. Of course, that depends on what kind of catalog you have of products on your site. Down here, we've got other goals like maybe just maximize number of views or clicks and things like that. I'm going to leave it on the first one, maximizing the number of conversions. Also, I think whenever we have conversions, because we have Omnisend, if we want to have those retargeted sales, that's something we can do on that aspect, the other side of the business there. We have our pixel. I'm going to click on Create Pixel. We can name this one. We can call this Deadlift Pixel 2 or Pixel 1. I don't know why I said Pixel 2. Just make it the first one there. We can enter our website URL. So let me go back to Shopify. I have the website right here. Let's copy that, paste it, say check. We got a little green check mark, so we're good. I'm going to say next. And you can check it by, adding some code on your pixel to make sure it's ready to use. I'm going to do that later. Down here, you can make a cost per result goal. That is optional, it's not required. And on the right side, you can see the audience definition. Right now, it's very, very broad. It shows us the estimated daily results, the reach we would have based on our budget, which right now is set to $20 as a daily budget. Maybe that's good in the beginning. You don't want to spend too much too early on with this. You really want to start off, the whole goal in the beginning is to just learn. You want to find out which designs work well, which ads work well. And so you don't want to put a ton of money hoping that, you just hit it, strike gold immediately and make a ton of money. Instead, your goal here is to, run a bunch of ads, but do it, save some money, really stretch it out over like a month. It's really 30 days is probably the right amount of time to do a lot of this learning. So pick a daily budget that you could afford to spend on this, consider it like R&D. Think of this as research. How much are you willing to spend for the month to learn as much as possible so that after a month you have a better idea of what products are working, what designs are working, what ads are working, and then you can really start to double down and ramp up, your ad spend on specific ads. And again, keep iterating from there, but, ramping up that very, very slowly. So starting at maybe $20 a day, I think is going to be probably fine for this campaign here. We can have budget scheduling, so you can have budget increases scheduled if you wanted to, and we could do and we have other audience controls here. Minimum ages, for example, you can exclude certain custom audiences. You can have locations, advantage plus audience down here. I'm going to say next. Again, I'm not going to dig too much into this. I do have a full Facebook ads tutorial that I really get into the nitty-gritty details of how to set this up. But, for the sake of time, I think we're probably well beyond 2.5 hours into this video. I'm just going to kind of go through this a little bit more briefly. Now we have the actual ad. This is the final tier, like I said, and we can duplicate this. So, put in the work on the first one, and we'll make a bunch of copies of this one. Now, we want to make sure we have the right Facebook page connected. I have way too many Facebook pages. I delete them all the time, but I keep making these videos, so I keep having more Facebook pages. Instagram, Facebook page, both connected, which is great. So we have the logo popping up there and the identity is correct. We can name this one. So maybe this is like skeleton AI ad. And for something like wall art, it makes a lot of sense to do like an AI generated video maybe, but some of the other ones, you really want to be showing it as much as possible. So probably having more B-roll, especially once you actually have the product in hand. If you are going with something like ARC ads, it could make a lot of sense to, like I said, once you order your product, show it on the wall, film your own videos, even with an iPhone. The good thing about a lot of the short form content like TikTok and Instagram Reels is that they really are biased more towards a more natural feel on the videos, which makes it more, beginner friendly anyway. So you don't need some kind of crazy camera setup to make a good ad, as you otherwise would have a couple years ago if you were doing some more landscape style ads on something like YouTube or really any platform that prioritized landscape videos. So vertical videos, people are way more okay with having fast pace and much more chill ads that are kind of filmed with an iPhone, for example. We can manually upload our ad. So we're going to go with manual upload. We can leave it on flexible or single image or carousel. Like carousel would be good if you have a lot of like mock-ups in the very beginning. You don't even have the product yet. Maybe carousel is the move there. And then down here, your destination. Again, we want to paste that URL, the display link. We could just say order now. Oh, sorry. The display link. We can paste that and we can click on setup creative. So here you can make the thumbnail, you can upload a thumbnail for it. I don't really have a good ad right now. We can choose the label. So I'm just gonna make up some random stuff here. Display label, and the URL, we actually do want this URL to be the product URL. So let's go back to our site here, and I think we want this product right here. So we can actually go to all of our products and go to the product, copy the link to the actual product, and then go back to the ads manager, paste it, and say next. Now I'm going to go through and kind of populate some of this. Now I'm going to populate some of this stuff and then add the media, trim it, crop it, enhancements, and then we can publish this. And now we can upload some media, which I believe I have down here. I'm going to go with this one. That's the video I made in that TikTok ads tutorial. So we're just going to use that one. I think it makes more sense. And keep in mind, sometimes you may want your ad to fit in different aspect ratios. So consider that when you're making the ad, if it's being shown in vertical or in square or even landscape, it's good to make several different versions of an ad, or at least make the ad once and be able to crop it down to fit on different platforms. I'm going to click on next. Now we can crop it, we can trim it. So if you go through and you're like, hey, this doesn't look good, we can then, cut off parts you don't need or make it shorter. All right, it's done uploading. I'm going to say next. Again, this is what I was talking about right there. So you have the square version, you have the vertical version and a horizontal. I think 1-to-1 makes more sense there. You don't really want like bars on either side. This doesn't look good at all. So we're going to pretty much never use landscape for this video. I'll say next. We can have some of these enabled or disabled if you want to have like, the visual touch-ups, maybe make it a little more vibrant so that can maybe increase conversions. You can play around with this on your own, of course, and I'm going to say done. And that's kind of the whole creative process of making an ad with Facebook. When you say publish, well, actually, we're not quite done yet. We've down here, we have primary text, headline, description. We can add all of this information in so it's showing up around the ad there. And then we could say publish. Once you have all of this done, we'll say publish. And I just want to show you Okay, so now we obviously have to add our payment details. I'll say next. Once you add your credit card, it'll bring you back to the Ads Manager dashboard. And so from here, I want to show you how this works. Across this kind of middle tab here, we have 3 different tabs. So you've got your campaigns, your ad sets, and your ads. So if you wanted to turn the whole thing off, you can just, toggle that on and off here. If you have different ad or campaigns you want to, have running or not running, same thing with the ad sets and same thing with the ads. Now, within each of these, you can duplicate them. This will save you a lot of work in the future if you select this. So we could just, actually, you don't even have to select it. You just hover over it and you'll see duplicate right there. Click on duplicate. You can choose how many copies you want. So maybe we really like this setup. You either like the text or you just like the video and you want to iterate on little things, maybe a different call to action, maybe a different description, maybe a different link landing somewhere else on a different, on your website. All of that can be done right here. So we can add this to the same campaign, which I think makes sense here. You can make a new campaign or some other existing campaign. If you have different campaigns and you want to just, copy all the work from one over to the other, you can do that right here. So if I say duplicate, it'll bring us back into this ads editor. And on the left side, it's within the same ad set, like I said, and we've got the copy and the other copy. We will have to rename those. So we can call this like ad 2, and maybe this one could be like ad 3 if you want to call it that. And of course, change like any subtle thing on here, and we could then publish that. So then we'll have 3 ads running under that one ad set. Same thing here, you can duplicate an ad set, and that's essentially the structure of how you'll be running your ads on the meta ads or the ads manager for Facebook here. So that's meta ads. We have 2 more that I want to talk about. And again, I have a full tutorial on both of these, but I'm going to run you through the basics right now just to get you started. And I think this should really help a lot of people out there. The next one is TikTok ads. And this one, I believe we do have an affiliate with. I think we should be getting, depending on where you are regionally, sometimes they have a bonus with this. They used to have a dollar match. It used to be like really good, up to $1,500. Now it's a little bit less than that. But if we go to santrelmedia.com/TikTok, let's see what we're doing now. Now it might, let's see. All right, so right now, at least in my region, they don't have a dollar match. Check out the link anyway, though. If you want to support the channel, it costs you nothing extra. It helps us out. And depending, like I said, where you are, you could get some ad credits. Looks like we get some ad credits over there maybe, but I'm going to say get started. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video, but TikTok actually just emailed me like right after I filmed the video and brought the offer back. So now it's spend $200, get $200, all the way up to $1,000. So if you're looking for a free $200 to $1,000 when you're running your ads, so they're gonna do a dollar match on that, you might as well go through our link. I'll put that in the description down below and in a pinned comment, santrelmedia.com/TikTok. The page might look a little bit different from this, but you should be seeing on the left side an offer like that. So feel free to check it out. Also supports the channel. Thanks, guys. Let's get back to the tutorial. And from here, we can enter our email, or you could sign in with TikTok if you wanted to. I'll enter my email. Make sure you select this box. I usually deselect this one. I don't really need them. I get so many emails from them already. I have so many ads accounts, honestly. Then I can say continue, solve this little robot puzzle here. Got to match, looks like the 9s. Then we can confirm the email. Now we can add the business name as well as the URL. We can choose our industry. This is e-commerce, and we could just go down to, I don't know, wall art, home decor, I think would make sense. Our phone number then. And now this should look rather familiar. Okay, I'm gonna accept this right here. This should look quite familiar, but we need to connect our Shopify to TikTok ads. And this also gives us a nice advantage of selling on TikTok if we ever wanted to. So if we go back before even continuing this, right? Like we're going to go through, this is a very similar process to Facebook ads, but let's go back to our store. And from here, again, we can go to apps. We can look up TikTok, look for TikTok. Here it is. We're going to install TikTok on our store. We'll click on install. Then click on install again. That should pop up in the corner, install. And this will give us 2 options when we first set it up. It'll have one for TikTok ads, and the second one should be for, you can see right here, selling on TikTok. We want to start off by setting up TikTok ads, obviously. And this is really going to be adding that pixel, just like we did with Facebook, to track things on our store here. So I'm going to connect it. And again, that way you run an ad on TikTok, you can find out, was it converting, was it not, or you don't really find out, like it finds out, and it uses that to report back to you and let you know on a nice clean analytics report, what ads were performing better than others. Let's say connect. And as long as we have them both tabs open in the same browser, they should automatically connect without having to re-sign into TikTok, for example. Then we have the TikTok ads manager. We can say connect again. It's pending review. Looks good. Data sharing, we can choose the level. I'm going to choose maximum again. Maximum. We have the TikTok pixel. We'll say confirm. And then lastly, confirm the company information. We'll say setup, and we can finish the setup here. So that will say pending account review. Eventually it'll turn green. It'll let us know that we're all good to go there. But let's go back to TikTok in the meantime, and we can go down our goal here. There's a lot of different goals, but because we're not selling directly on TikTok Shop, you might think we're looking for product sales, but that's only for TikTok Shop. We're actually looking for website conversions. So I'm going to select website conversions. We can have smart campaign or not. I'm going to disable that. I don't really think we need that immediately. It's a new feature, but you can always re-enable that or enable different parts of that later on. So I'm going to say, got it. Get rid of that little pop-up. Our website location. All right, so here we are again. I'm going to go to website conversion. We're going to scroll down. We can name this campaign. So we could just name it whatever we want. I'm going to be working off of an older one because, like I said, it takes up to 24 hours for it actually to be approved. So I'm going to work off an older campaign setup I already have. We have no categories declared. We can scroll down. We can create a split test if you want. You do CBO, which is going to optimize your budget for the entire campaign. And you can set the campaign budget as well. Then we can say continue, and that'll bring us into the next tier, which is going to be the ad group. Instead of ad set, they call it ad group on TikTok, but it's really the similar idea here. You can see the ad group. We can name it on the top. On the right side, it shows you the available audience, so how broad it is. And as you scroll down, you can customize the audience in a minute. We have the optimization location here. But yeah, you can see down here, like you can limit the age if you want to have only like 35 to 44-year-olds. You could do that. It'll tell you that it's more of a balanced audience and it's not nearly as broad. But I'm going to turn those back on. So let's rename this. We can call this like US primary audience 1. Here, this may take longer if it takes some time to connect to your Shopify store, but you should see data connection. It should say TikTok pixel for Shopify. It'll show you the number right there. So, if it takes up to 24 hours, maybe come back tomorrow and check, and you should be able to have that. You shouldn't have to go through the connection process. Like, it really should just show up right there. But click connect, and that should be showing up. We can choose the optimization event then. So similar to what we saw on Facebook ads, you can have it when you add to cart. You could have it anything like that. I'm actually going to change it to complete payment. We can choose automatic or manual placements. And if we go to advanced settings, I would recommend some of the things you can change here. You can allow video sharing or not. I'm going to disable allow video downloads so nobody steals our ad. And we can set a budget and schedule for this level if you wanted to. You can set a start time, a schedule for it. You can do, you can change some settings with your bidding and your optimization as well. And then finally, we can continue to the ad. So the ad, you can change the name for it. And so this, you could just have like AI generated ad, no captions 1, maybe you want to call it that. We can change the identity down here. So I'm not going to be using Spark ads. On the right side, you'll see we have like Pangle and TikTok. You want to make sure it's showing up just on TikTok. This is a single video. You could also do a carousel of images if you wanted to, again, have those just, some images of like the mock-ups, for example. You can have up to 35 images, or you can do a single video, whatever works for your brand and what you're selling. We can then upload the video. So I have it uploading. We can enter the text. We can actually also edit the call to action. So they have a bunch that TikTok's going to test for us, up to 10 different ones. And so some of them make more sense than others. Shop now, order now, use it doesn't really make sense. But you can have like download doesn't make sense either. But you can choose the ones that make the most sense for what you're actually selling. Then we can click on the interactive add-on, and this changes from time to time. TikTok really likes to change how this looks, but you have some different ideas of how it can pop up and have a better call to action during the video or during the ad. So we could try out like this one right here for some product tagging. It's connected to your store. You can tag the product, right here if you wanted to. And so those are the cards. You also have stickers as well, but either one is going to essentially do the same thing. It's a call to action on your ad to just kind of make it a little bit more clickable. So hopefully improving conversions there. We can also have like on the sticker, maybe a discount code, like, save 10% with a certain code, change the sticker color, you can move it around. And that's just, giving a little bit more incentive for somebody to actually make the purchase. Then we can add our URL. So the product link right here, we can preview it, of course. And then at the very bottom, we can click continue when we're ready. We'll enter our payment details. And then the interface is going to be very, very similar to what we saw on Facebook, where you have the campaign, the ad groups, and the ads as 3 different tabs. You can turn them on and off and customize everything as you need to there. All right, so changing up the video quality here. Sorry about that, but the product arrived. I ordered it on February 26th. Today is March 3rd, so that is 5 days later. I got an email 2 days after the order that the product shipped, so very, very fast turnaround. One thing that I noticed on this, I'm gonna cover up my address here, but you'll see it says my store right there. So I don't know if I don't remember if I ordered this before we changed the store name or if I just missed a setting and didn't change the store name, but it's shipping from my store. I would rather have that shipped from Santrel Design, something we will have to change in the future. But let's open it up and see what the product actually looks like, what the quality is. This is, I believe, just the t-shirt. So this is obviously smaller package. They're coming in 2 different packages. That's pretty common for print on demand when you order multiple items. But we have, okay, so this was the Gildan 5000, heavy cotton. You can see the tag right there, kind of a tan color. And there is our design. You can see the print quality. Let me look at it first before showing and talking about it too much. But yeah, it looks like the background removal was great. There's plenty of detail on everything. And even though ChatGPT sometimes adds like, kind of like, they don't always have sharp ends to the lines, kind of just an AI artifact there, like you can see on the skull. But even though that exists, it still has like a really phenomenal print quality. Nothing looks out of the ordinary. This looks like just a professional t-shirt. Like I could wear this around and I would, like, nobody would ever look at this and say like, oh, did you make that yourself on ChatGPT? Because this is genuinely very professional. So I'm excited to get the sweatshirt. If that arrives in the next like day, I'll probably add that to the video. Otherwise, maybe I'll put a link in the description below and I don't know, just like upload a little private video and you can check out the quality of that one separately if you want. But overall, I'm very impressed by this. I think this shirt, like I'm actually gonna wear it. I like this shirt a lot. But let me know what you think about this. And like I said, I also have a full comparison video with Gelato and Printful and Printify. And in that video, I have other samples from Gelato. If you want to see more print samples, some more colors and stuff like that, check out how that actually turned out. It turned out great in all of those, but you can see for yourself the actual quality. So yeah, I'm very happy. And now let's get back to the video. All right, so this is why I say it's really important to purchase a sample for yourself so you can try it on. So even though this looks good, like it's centered and everything, when you're actually wearing it, a lot of times you want the designs to be slightly higher. So this, when I'm wearing this shirt, I think it looks like the design is a little bit too low. Like because he's leaning over this way, it would be better if it was shifted up just slightly so the top of his head was maybe right there instead of right there. So that's a subtle thing that you really can't know unless you order the product and actually try it on. So the poster arrived now, and I'm going to open it up. This took about 7 days from order until I received it. Most of that time was just USPS, taking a long time to deliver it. I believe this was USPS. So the poster comes rolled up and protected here. Let's do a really gentle cut to get this open. Wow, look at that. Excellent print quality. Just a really good looking poster. Thicker than I thought it was going to be as well, so that's kind of nice. The paper feels very premium. So here it is in some brighter light. I'm very impressed. So we have covered a lot in this video so far. TikTok ads, Facebook ads, organic advertising. Another one you can do, I'm just going to kind of talk about it. I'm not going to actually do it for this product here, but that would be like influencer marketing. If you know other smaller TikTokers or any accounts that are relatively small but have a larger reach, you could either just give them the product and have them wear it in some content. You could pay them to make some ads, and then ultimately you could boost those ads and run those on your own, or they could just have them organically posted on their account. And the other option, of course, as I mentioned before, would be other ad platforms such as Snapchat ads, which I'm not going to go to in this video, but we do have a full tutorial on Snapchat ads. I'll link that down in the description below. So that is, in essence, everything you'll need to do at least to get started. Moving forward, though, what are the next steps? So you need to keep in mind a couple things with this business. One is that it's all about iteration. That's really the main benefit of print on demand, or really any kind of drop shipping, is that you are able to change very, very rapidly rapidly with no major cost to you. You don't have any overhead costs. You don't have to, retool anything. You can just come up with a new design tomorrow and test that. You can come up with a new ad and test that. So the name of the game here is going to be iterating and testing and learning as much as possible, but you want to be consistent as well. It's not going to be something that you get in 1 week or in 3 weeks. You may not even get anything in the first couple of months. As long as you're learning and improving and making, big improvements in your design, and you're really working hard on your ads, this is something that over time you will improve with, and eventually, hopefully, you will have a successful business. So I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you for watching this incredibly long video. If you enjoyed it, of course, leave comments down below, consider subscribing, and I'm excited to see your stores. Leave a comment and let me know what you're selling as well. I'll check out your stores. I'd be happy to buy something, and good luck.